Here's Butler getting it easily, and the basket counts.
Welcome to SicEm365 Radio.
Up-tempo for Baylor. Ebner straight ahead. Johnson lassoed him from behind, but instead he pushes across for the Bears touchdown.
SicEm365 Radio is presented by IdealMRI.com. High-quality MRIs for $497 or less. IdealMRI.com. Your health is important, so is your budget.
Jumbo Chachwa puts it up and through as he climbs the ladder in sale.
The 3 o'clock hour is sponsored by Waco Custom Marketplace. Meats, sweets, Texas treats, and a cut above the rest. 425 Lake Air Drive, Waco.
Sliding, throwing, touchdown Dallas! C.D. Lamb.
Here's David Smoak and Paul Catalina.
All right, here we go on this Friday afternoon. Welcome into the studio. Armstrong Sims, the day after graduation, runs the mothership. Paul Catalina is back. I'm David Smoak. Craig is off. He'll be back on Tuesday. And we hope you've had a really, really good day. A lot of people going through graduation, continuing that. There are proms galore and so much more. And we have a lot to get to today. Robert Griffin III and his mother, Jacqueline, will be on with us. Jacqueline by Zoom. Robert will be on with us by phone as Mrs. Griffin has a 501c3 about mothers as far as a cause with this being Mother's Day. So that's at 4:05 or so today. We also have Staff Sergeant Courtney Clary, U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, coming in today at 4:45 as they try to get people to understand serving our country. He'll be in studio today at 4:45. We're going to rerun Nikki Collin from earlier in the week on Wednesday, our interview. And then also Brian Etheridge today will come in on the phone at 3:45 about the latest, what he's hearing ear on the ground when it comes to women's basketball, recruiting the staff, and much more. And Bruce Feldman, momentarily, he's got that list out of the top 50 transfers. And Siaki Ika is a part of that list. Charlie Brewer's a part of that list, among others in the Big 12 is a part of that list. And he'll be on with us here momentarily at 3:15. Now, a couple of things. Baseball starts a series tonight at home against Kansas State. They're in the hunt to get NCAA accreditation. And what I mean by that, not like paperwork, but they are on their way up the ladder. Softball, they play Texas this weekend. Tonight, Saturday and Sunday, all the way down in Austin tonight, and then Saturday and Sunday at Getterman Stadium. So there's that weekend when it comes to that as well. Let's see here. Oh, this is horrible news. Hartford, you hear about this?
Yeah, I did, and it's been coming. It's
John
been rumored,
Gallagher.
But they're going D3, which means no scholarships anymore. Mm-hmm. So they're gonna. I mean, like their whole team might as well just jump in the transfer portal. Well, I mean, it's 2025, I guess, is the target date of that. So they've got 3 or 4 years to get. Am I right on 2025? Was that the by D3?
Like that,
that's 2025. And look, one thing that's going to happen, I know for sure, is they're going to lose one heck of a basketball coach because he's not a D3 coach.
No.
And
he is full throttle. You know, we were hoping that they were going to come down and play a non-conference game against Baylor this upcoming season, right?
They might still. They still got a little bit of time there, but it seems to me like I would not be surprised if they're down on the money that they're spending that for the next couple of years their non-conference games aren't within a bus ride.
Hey, like you almost have to do that. So I did reach out, as you can imagine, with our good friend John Gallagher, the head coach at Hartford. And I would think he's kind of in a little bit of a predicament. Scott Van Pelt about 2 or 3 weekends ago did a commentary editorial about Hartford and what they were doing with. I shared this with you. When they won their conference tournament championship to get a bid to the NCAA tournament, all the way through the time when they lost to Baylor, not one time, not a call, not coming down to see him at the gym, the arena, wherever they practice, the facility, not on the road, no text messages, not an email did he hear from the president at Hartford. Not once. And I'm not saying that that's always the case. Maybe there are some, that makes no sense. That was a big deal for Hartford. The neighborhood, as John Gallagher and his own president, basically just never said yes, congratulations, anything after winning the conference tournament and getting to the NCAA tournament. We saw the trailer of 12 Mighty Orphans. Remember who is it, the principal or whoever it is, when they're playing games, he said, every day they're playing, we're losing money. Mm-hmm. And that's probably what the same attitude the Hartford president, although getting a part of a chunk of the NCAA, whatever it is, $150,000, $200,000, $300,000, that didn't hurt.
Well, they're still going to, if they're losing so much money that they can't keep it on. And of course, the pandemic kind of exposed a lot of leaks in some athletic department boats, but to go all the way down to D3 seems to me to be such a drastic measure.
Here's the deal. Here's the timeline for Hartford. And I did ask Coach Gallagher through his sports information. They've been great, but not yet anything from him. So the decision does not impact your athletic experience. That's what they say. A student athlete slated to graduate in 2021, no effect. If you graduate in 2022 at Hartford, you can compete as a Hawk in Division I next year, and your existing scholarship will be honored. In 3 seasons or 2 seasons, you can compete as a Hawk, Division I competition. Your existing athletic scholarship will be honored as 2022-2023 and no later than 23-24. Teams will not be, though, eligible for championship play. I think that means Division III. 2024, same thing. You could compete Division I. Still not eligible for championship play. Then 2025, you go to Division III. Existing scholarships will be honored through this the year before, but then you're done. And so if you're a player, like let's say you're a freshman on that team, and they had some younger guys on that team, you're gone. Aren't you going to hit you enter the transfer portal today?
Yeah, if it's 2021 and your 4-year scholarship, right? You might as well go. And so he's going to have to use the portal and fill out for a couple years with guys who are looking for a last opportunity.
I'm hoping that we get a chance to visit with him so he can clarify that a little bit. So men's tennis, of course, in the NCAA regionals, number 1 seed here in Waco, open up against Texas A&M Corpus Christi at the Herd Tennis Center. Alabama, Oregon, also a part of the regional, and Baylor is, again, hosting the regional in Waco. So I told you baseball, Kansas State, softball in Texas, Hartford. This is, I did not know who John Gallagher was. I got to be honest with you. I didn't know much about Nikki Collin, until about a week or 2 ago. And I didn't know John Gallagher until Baylor plays him in the first round, and then he's like our best friend. Mm-hmm. He's like Scott Drew. He's like, in that neighborhood. So I hate that for him. La Vega, the boys, won the track championship in Austin yesterday. They won it in 2019, and then last year they didn't have one. Paul and Armstrong and our audience, they won the 4x100. They won the 4x200. Mm-hmm. They won the 4x400.
Yeah.
And they also won the 100 meters.
Yeah, none of that surprises me. They have kids that can run. And they have athletes.
I was on the phone with Don Hyde a little bit here on the way to the studio. I think there's 2 sophomores in that group. There might be one of the underclassmen. 4 of the guys who are mixed and matched in some of the relays are seniors, but not all of them are seniors. So that's back-to-back because I said, wait a minute, they won it in 19. Well, then I realized they didn't have it last year. So that's not a surprise. But this is a school. Remember the girls' basketball team won a state title. But this is a school now that is they're like gathering championships, state championships in various sports.
When I came here, they were not that. They were the very underachieving, I guess you could say. And they didn't strike fear in the hearts of anybody. It was just they weren't your homecoming game, but they were another game on the schedule. And now what they have done in 15 years, they're the game on your schedule where you're like,
oh, damn.
La Vega. No matter what the sport is. Like, La Vega's coming.
Yep, no question about it. And it all turned the corner when they won the state championship in 2015. They did win that girls' state championship. Of course, Juicy Landrum was on a team that won another one. But it all just seemed to everything changed. Dr. Shields and what she's brought to the table as well, along with what Willie Williams and then Don Hyde have done among many others, is just incredible. All right, the most valuable sports franchises. Number 3. Is this your top 5?
No.
Who do you think is number 3?
The Yankees.
They're number 2 at $5.25 billion. So you know who's number 1.
The Cowboys.
$5.7 billion. This is the world, by the way.
So they've surpassed. So as somebody, Manchester United,
the New York Knicks.
Man, golly. What?
Yes, the Knicks are worth $5 billion.
All right, so they're worth. That makes them officially. Congratulations, James Dolan. Now the Knicks are playing better this year and might actually make the playoffs. But congratulations, James Dolan. You have the 3rd most valuable sports franchise, and they've done nothing for almost 30 years.
Yeah, it's been a while. When I think of the Knicks, I'll tell you, when I think of the Knicks, I think of Willis Reed, Earl Monroe, and then, of course, later on they had some teams that were pretty good, but not good enough with Patrick Ewing. They were good, but they weren't like Starks. But they couldn't beat the Bulls or the Pistons or whoever else.
That Ewing, Mason, Anthony Mason, Charles Oakley, John Starks team. I mean, they were good. They were fun to watch. They were easy. They're also easy to hate. They're all villains.
Yeah, no,
they're all villains, and they liked it. I mean, they're kind of like the Pistons teams. They were all. I mean, they're physical teams. I remember the fight they got in with Alonzo Mourning. I mean, just physical teams. But since then, the Knicks. You
know who Starks was? He was Bregman.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, you just
good, really good. Bregman's a better player, but they both just got under your skin.
When we were at Madison Square Garden doing that show, I remember we asked that guy that we had that worked there that was the fan about the Knicks and just the pain on his face. And you mentioned John Starks, and he's like, hold on, I'm gonna go outside and just cry a little bit.
I'm gonna throw up in my mouth. Yeah. So the Cowboys, $5.7 billion. Bruce Feldman joins us momentarily. Yankees, $5.25. The Knicks at $5 billion. Barcelona, $4.76 billion. Real Madrid, $4.75. The number 6, the Golden State Warriors, at $4.7 billion, slightly ahead of even the Lakers. In the last 5 years, the Warriors' value has gone up 147%.
I mean, that's what winning titles does.
They were bought for $450 million. They're worth now $4.7 billion. Of course, the number with Jerry bought for $150 million, which is now almost 1 year of giving a quarterback money, and now worth $5.7 billion. Break then, Bruce, or Bruce Feldman been the break?
Well, it's 3:13, so you tell me what you want to do.
Yeah, let's get him on. Let's go ahead and get him on. That's insane. The Golden State Warriors, of course, they won those the NBA titles. Then they went back and validated them. Lakers are 7. The Patriots are number 8. The Giants, the New York Football Giants, another New York franchise, 9th. And at number 10, Bayern Munich, is that it?
I actually
soccer, $4.2 billion. Manchester United now is number 11. They're number 11.
I'm surprised the Patriots aren't higher.
Yeah, with all the Super Bowls, and plus they got the stadium and Robert Kraft and all, of course, all of that, as well. So that surprised me, though. I didn't think I'd see the Knicks that high, but again, a lot of those franchises in that mix are in the New York area, and that also has a lot to do with it. Bruce Feldman and Max Olson, theathletic.com, college football's transfer portal top 50. And there's a couple of familiar names. At the top is running back Eric Gray from Tennessee to Oklahoma. Tennessee was basically an Oklahoma farm team for the offseason of transfer portal. Bruce Feldman from theathletic.com, college football, joins us on SicEm365 Radio. Bruce, first of all, thank you very much for your time. This is different, right, than eventually what you'll do with your Freaks list. When does that come out?
That won't come out until probably around July.
Okay.
So this is much different than that, yes.
Yep, so this is the transfer portal. We mentioned Gray at the top, but we did catch the attention of Siaki Ika from LSU to Baylor, and we saw him during their spring game and a couple of others. And, Bruce, I'm glad he's on this list and high because he looks like he's an absolute difference maker for Dave Aranda.
Yeah, big, dominant guy who just LSU changed schemes, and when they went away from the three-man front, it wasn't as good a fit for him. And now he's back with Aranda in that system, and I think he's going to cause a lot of havoc in the Big 12.
Bruce, which coaches have figured out the transfer portal best, like Lincoln Riley seems to have dominate it, and which ones do you think still need a little help?
I think it depends on what you're looking at, right? I mean, in LSU's case, they had Joe Burrow, who obviously is kind of the gold standard of what you're talking about in terms of it wasn't working out great at Ohio State. He goes to LSU, he leads them to a national title. And then they plucked and taken a kicker from a Division III school who ended up becoming basically an All-American caliber kicker that year. So it's like you're supplementing parts of your roster, and I think people have kind of seen that. Now, those are the, kind of the high-end examples. There's a lot of other cases where you're really just, hey, we need O-line depth, or we need help in the secondary. And I think certainly Lincoln Riley had success with Jalen Hurts as a transfer, and now we're seeing him take a running back, taking a chance on a former big recruit offensive lineman from Tennessee, and we'll see how it goes. Miami's had a lot of success with it. Jalen Phillips' career was kind of really, beneath the radar at that point. When he left UCLA, he goes to Miami, has a huge year, and becomes a first-round pick. And they had a lot of success in the portal again based on that. Tyreek Stevenson was the number 2 guy on their list. He's just a freaky athlete at cornerback. They take Charleston Rambo, who came from Oklahoma, and they think he had a great spring, and they took an edge rusher from Tennessee. So I think, that's the place where Manny Diaz has kind of made you can sell Miami, obviously, to a lot of transfers, too. So I think that has been a big selling point for them.
What was the flood of Tennessee players to Oklahoma, including the number 1 player on your list, and also Morris, Lawrence? I know you lost a couple as well, but what was it? Was that like almost just 3 guys that all like each other a lot, good friends, or what?
I think there was a lot of interest in Wanye Morris because he was a big recruit. He's a huge guy with good feet. Now there's some other challenges with him, where in terms of focus and maturity and whatnot, Eric Gray did not have those. Eric Gray was a good all-around back who a lot of people were interested in. I just think in this regard, you had Tennessee, which really felt like it was kind of that proverbial dumpster fire in the off season, and that. I think people looked at it and said, what, we came here to play at a high level and it's not working out. Let's go somewhere where we can have a chance to become part of a playoff team. And, I think the fact that 2 of those guys are offensive guys and get to play for Lincoln Riley is a big selling point.
Bruce Feldman with us on SicEm365 Radio.
Do you see a bad team that got better enough to turn heads in the transfer portal?
You mean just because of 1 or 2 players, or?
Yeah, or that filled those gaps. A team that,
Yeah, one that's interesting, and it's funny, we're going to talk about them as a bad team because for a long time, they were great, but that was FSU. But they've been under 500 the last couple of years, and they have 4 guys on our list. Mackenzie Milton's the best known because he had so much success at UCF, the quarterback. But Jermaine Johnson came from Georgia, really good player, had a great spring. And there's 2 other defensive players that I expect to be starters. And I think that could lead them maybe to being a fringe top 25 team or closer to it compared to a program that's really, Mike Norvell is really struggling to kind of get some traction there.
Seems like Texas is now moving players to, Epps, the wide receivers going to USC, of course, Keontae Ingram. They have the great running back in Bijan Robinson. Is that right now? That will be unbelievable.
Bijan Robinson.
Bijan Robinson.
Freshman running back.
It's amazing to me. Speaking of him, Bruce, it took forever. Like the last game. Where was, and I know Herman's no longer there, and I got Sarkisian there, but when I saw Robinson, one of the first times I saw him carry the ball, and Herman never was what you could consider running back friendly with getting the ball 15 or 20 times in a game. How explosive do you think he is? He jumped out at everybody finally in that bowl game.
Yeah, I mean, he looked like a difference maker for a program that really lacked them. People I talk to there think he could be a Heisman winner, and we'll see. They got to get better on the offensive line, but Keith Sarkisian has proved to be a really good offensive coach. Very interested to see if he can, how quickly he can get it going at UT.
Charlie Brewer, I like the guy a lot. I like the way he played at Baylor. I know last year was a disaster along a lot of ways offensively, and Dave Aranda's first year with Larry Fedora. I've had a chance to visit with him a couple of different times. Have you heard much from Utah on him? I've seen a couple of articles about how he's come on in there and basically just stepped right in as a leadership guy and also playing well in the spring.
Yeah, Chain seems to be fitting him well. Obviously, this will be the third offensive system in less than 3 years for him, but people are very encouraged here in the Pac-12 about what they saw from him. And, you know, there's Kyle Whittingham has had a bunch of transfers come in and out of there the last few years. So I think it's a good opportunity for him to bring some stability there because he's obviously played a lot. And I think a change of scenery seems to be doing well for him. When
did I miss the Charleston Rambo news? That must have
been there for a while.
No, I know it. I mean, it's been there forever. He's in Miami, but that must, I don't know, maybe that day I was busy or I wasn't on, like, I don't remember that. Was that pretty quickly after the year ended, Bruce?
Yeah, because he was there for the whole spring, and they really liked what they saw. They said it kept on getting better and better. So I definitely think it's an interesting, it's an interesting fit there. De'Ara King can really throw the ball around, and they already have one really good receiver in Mike Harley and a pretty good tight end in Will Mallory. So I think this offense has a chance to take a big step forward, especially there. And they feel like, you know, he had some problems with drops at OU, but he's a really big speed guy, and they said he continued to get stronger there. So they like what they've seen. I know Manny Diaz was really high on him after how he improved from the first scrimmage to the second and then to the third each time.
With Miami as a whole, I mean, De'Ara King got hurt, towards the end of last year, and he was kind of the big promise for them finally having a steady Eddie at quarterback, which they hadn't for a long, long time at Miami. Have they started to really hit the ground running again with Manny Diaz, with the transfers they're getting, with De'Ara King coming back, and maybe, I don't think they're going to be Miami of 2001 anytime soon, but at least being a team that can contend year in and year out for the conference title?
Yeah, if they can continue to get better on the offensive line, I think that's a big piece of that. That's been lacking for really the last, basically the last 15 years. And they feel like they've got more depth there now. I think it's a process they got to continue to recruit. They obviously got to keep more of the top players from South Florida home, that's honestly, it's an uphill climb at this point, So, but I definitely think he is an upgrade from where they were under Mark Richt, where basically they were good on defense, and that was on the Manny Diaz side of the ball, and they were really, really shaky on offense. And now I feel like they've definitely made strides on offense to right that and get that sorted out.
Eric Gray from, Tennessee to Oklahoma. Kennedy Brooks is back after opting out last year. My God. I mean, it's like all the toys, bells, and whistles for Lincoln Riley. Bruce, I know you've covered LSU heavily, and obviously 2 years ago they won the national title. What is right now kind of the mood on campus with all of what's happened in the accusations and allegations within the football program? Are they in simmer mode, or are they kind of in a defensive mode?
That's a good question. I'll be honest, though, not being down there, I couldn't really speak to exactly that part of it. I think it's even, it's university-wide issues too. So it's not just, it's not just in the football program. It's really the whole university. A lot of those issues were brought to light, I think, over the last, it goes back to Les Miles. It probably goes back even before that. And I just think some of the things, how they were handled, they do not sit well with a lot of people there. And so it's going to be interesting to see what other steps the university takes going forward, because some of the people who were reprimanded are people who've been there for a long, long time. And Verge Osbury played there in the 80s and is probably, one of his closest friends is the AD there now, Scott Woodward. So it's a really messy situation, and we'll see if it's in simmer mode or if it's gonna bubble up again even further.
Do you see any comparisons with what happened at Baylor at LSU?
I mean, there's certainly some. I think one of the differences you'd hear is, like, some of these cases, it wasn't necessarily the football staff getting involved and doing things. It was, you still have the same issues of, like, just an inept Title IX situation that was not prepared to handle anything. I think from what you heard from the investigation out of Baylor was more of that coaches were actively involved in this. In this case, it felt like there was breakdowns in the administration side of it, not necessarily in the coaching side. Taking out, I mean, look, the Les Miles component is a different component than in terms of some really inappropriate behavior with student workers. I mean, to me, that wasn't something you had on the Baylor side, at least in my recollection. It's been a while, honestly, since, I've kind of thought about that whole side of that scandal. But in terms of this scandal, I think there's some similarities with the university and athletic department breakdowns, but I think there were breakdowns mostly in different ways.
Bruce, thank you very much. Good stuff. College football transfer portal top 50, theathletic.com. And I'll tell you this, Bruce, and I don't know if I've ever told you this before, and Max is on with us a lot during college football and others. It is the only, other than the site we work for that is a premium section site, but it's the only media outlet that I pay money to be a part of is theathletic.com. It's the only one. And you guys have done an incredible job, and we have you on many times. We appreciate you as well.
Well, I appreciate it. It's very, very kind of you to say that, and I definitely appreciate the support on it. So thanks again for having me. It's always good talking to you.
You too. That's Bruce Feldman, theathletic.com. The top 50. Again, number 1, Eric Gray, running back who went from Tennessee to Oklahoma. Oklahoma picked up 3 guys from Tennessee. Tyreek Stevenson, defensive back, Georgia to Miami 2. Henry To'o from Tennessee, not yet has made a decision. That's interesting since it's May. Jermaine Johnson, defensive end, Georgia, get to Florida State. And Siaka Apu, from LSU, the defensive nose tackle, to Baylor at number 5. If you look at teams in the Big 12, I'll do this quickly, I know we have a break, who are players added to this conference. The number 1 ranked player in this list, the number 5 player in this list, the number 20 player, the quarterback from Oregon to Texas Tech. The number 21 player, an offensive lineman from Memphis to TCU. Number 25, Doug Nestor, offensive lineman, Virginia Tech to West Virginia. Now I think we're at 5 or 6. TJ Carter, Memphis to TCU. Little package deals going there, the defensive back. Julius Brents from Iowa, defensive back to Kansas State. Let's see here. Florida State, Paul, put up a lot of money to get those guys, didn't they? Where I don't see.
Yeah, they lost.
I don't see the Huskers in one damn guy. Tennessee to Oklahoma. That mentioned those 2. Of course, the one that's really interesting. Now he was a retirement, wasn't it? Grant Calcaterra, and then he had to. I think he had to leave OU to go to SMU along with Mordecai. Jaquan Amos, the defensive back, Villanova to Iowa State. There's another Big 12 player. And then we mentioned Brewer the opposite way, and Keontae Ingram, Texas to USC the opposite way as well. All right. The 3:28 is the time. Coming up at 3:45, Brian Etheridge is going to help us out a little bit with the latest. His ear has been on the ground when it comes to not only where we are now that Nikki Collin is a part of the women's basketball program and running the mothership there, but also some things he's heard from even his ears on the ground to the AAU to other recruiting as well. One note later on, the NFL Players Association has come back and hammered the NFL. And again, they've got their long-term deal on the workout policy involving Jawan James, who we've talked about, the young man from Denver who hurt himself away from the facility. Just kind of watch, see how that simmers a little bit, if in fact that might lead to some changes. Although the NFL, hey, you work out with us, something happens here on our turf, we take care of you. You go away. This isn't like he was riding some like moped. He wasn't riding a gator. He wasn't snow skiing. You know, but that's going to be something that should be interesting to watch over the next few weeks as well. This is SicEm365 Radio. Waco Custom Marketplace. The weekend is here. Some of you are throwing graduation parties. Some of you are just wanting to enjoy maybe something to cook because the weather's so nice. And maybe you're starting to have even family get-togethers as well, along with the graduation, either college or high school. They have a custom department for it comes to their bakery when it comes to baked bread every single day. Fresh baked bread, fresh baked kolaches every day. Sweets and treats every day. Inside where they are with the bakery and outside, out on the floor, the main core of the office, the business, you have all sorts of incredible bread, even cookie cakes, among other things as well. And then in the back, there's the butcher shop. You can get custom cut steaks, bacon wrapped fillets as thick as you want, or maybe you don't want it 1.5 inches or 2 inches thick. Oh my goodness, just imagine how tasty those are. And you want ribeyes cut, bone in or not, they can do that as well, 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches, or maybe you don't like them that thick. They'll cut them how you want them. Waco Custom Marketplace, plus seafood, pork, and poultry as well. And they have all sorts of seasonings, and they got Meat Church, which is a new seasoning where you got holy cow that you could put that thing on pretty much anything. So they got different seasonings and sausage, pasta, chips, Rotel tomatoes, box dinners, whatever you want, they have that, plus vegetables as well. Big, huge briskets, maybe perfect for a reunion, graduation party, or whatever it might be, or just a good old smoke out. It's Waco Custom Marketplace at 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Y'all listen up. Let me tell you something about group meals from Rudy's Barbecue. It's got all you need for all the folks you gotta feed, smoked meat, sides, and more. There's everything down to the tablecloth, just like the one that you see at the store. At a bridal shower, it's better than flowers. And a long distance meeting, it'll pass the hours. It'll feed all the cousins at a family function. It's better than potluck at a church luncheon. Next time you need to feed 10 or more, call and order a Rudy's group meal.
Next in line.
Alan Samuels is celebrating Jeep Freedom Days. It's an exciting time for the Jeep Cherokee and the Grand Cherokee. Built tough as nails and able to stand up to any challenging off-road trails or city roads, travel with innovative technology to meet your lifestyle. Jeep, a great SUV. Alan Samuels, the award-winning customer service Central Texas dealer, the best place to get your next SUV. Located at 201 West Loop 340, or visit them online at alansamuelsdcj.com. Alan Samuels is your friend in the car business.
Come by, let's be friends.
Boots add protection. Good boots help you climb better and move forward faster. And when your son or daughter steps into the boots of a U.S. Army officer, they also learn how to lead. In these boots, they'll gain more confidence with expert training in one of more than 150 occupational specialties. In these boots, they'll stand a little taller and lead a team with diverse backgrounds and areas of expertise to successfully accomplish whatever challenge comes next. In these boots, they'll earn respect with valuable experience from day one that will give them solid footing for success into the future. Highly qualified candidates who earn a spot on our team can receive comprehensive health care coverage, college tuition assistance, and a bonus of up to $40,000. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
How did Edward Jones become one of the biggest financial service companies in the world? By not acting that way. Financial strategies, one-on-one advice, it's a big difference. And that's why Brad Wilson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, makes sense of investing. Experience the difference for yourself. Brad Wilson, 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, 254-776-4337. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Parenting is full of surprises.
You never know what to expect.
So after our son was born, I called my Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent to set up a life insurance policy in case something happened to me.
Sawyer is now 2.
And we'll soon have a sister. There's no one else I would trust with protecting my family.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation. Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trusted doctors that Baylor trusts, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
The Sic'em365 Radio app is sponsored by Allen Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat in Waco. Your friend in the car business at Loop 340 and east of 84. Come by. Let's be friends.
All right, here we go. Sic'em365 Radio. A couple of you on the text line. Thank you, Marshall. Scotty B and Daniel. Daniel goes, hey, I know it's a little late, but again, further congratulations to La Vega for going to the baseball playoffs this time for the first time in forever. And plus, we mentioned they won back-to-back now state track meets as well by blowing everybody away. And hey, LaGrange was like right there on some of those relays. Could have flipped the numbers, but La Vega ended up with 82 team points and won all three of the relays. That's awesome. And then Scotty, by the way, talking about the Knicks. All right, I'm going to name the names of the Knicks. Willis Reed, Walt Frazier, Earl Monroe, Bill Bradley, Dave DeBusschere, Phil Jackson, and that's what Scotty B was bringing up, was on that team as well. And I'm missing somebody. Monroe and Frazier, they had a left-handed guard, and I forgot his name. They had Bradley and DeBusschere, Willis Reed, and there's a couple of others, but, man, they were good.
That was the team that won the title.
71, maybe?
Yeah. That's the last time they won the title.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. It was 50 years ago.
It sounds like the Cowboys.
Twice the Cowboys. I mean, like, that's double. The Cowboys go. Cool. The Cowboys go 50 years.
Oh, my God.
Between titles.
Well, I know Washington will. Now, here's what would be interesting about the greatest franchises based on money, the value. Cowboys won.
Yankees.
Yankees
haven't won since 2009.
That's a long time for them, but there was the stretch of the late 70s, early 80s until they won it in 96.
Yeah, so they went from, 78 to
96 with Joe Torre. They beat the Rangers in a really good series. And then they won like 3 out of 4.
It was a really good series for Juan Gonzalez.
Yes, it was.
If the Rangers could have figured out a way to clone Juan Gonzalez and put him in the lineup a couple times, like that, they might have won. But those Yankees teams, I mean, that was the start of a dynasty. Yeah. I mean, and I was going to say it's the last baseball dynasty, but that's taking away from the Giants, who won 3 World Series. And
have you seen what's going on in the West,
6 years?
The National League West?
Oh, dear God. It's great.
The Dodgers are free falling.
Yeah, for now. Well, I mean, they'll figure it out.
But they've fallen into 3rd place. They were like 8 games ahead of everybody.
The Giants are good again.
Is it an odd year? Is it the odd year that they're good? Yeah, because they beat the Rangers in 11.
Yeah.
Was it 11?
13, and 15.
No, they beat the Rangers in 10.
Oh, 10, 12, and 14.
That's what it was, even year. So this is out of character.
Yeah, but I mean, the Padres are good and don't even have one of their best players with Mike Clevenger. So anyway, let's go to the phones. Joe from Oklahoma.
All right.
You're on SicEm365 Radio.
Hey, guys. This is first time, long time. I just wanted to address some rumors you guys were falsely spreading. You guys could not be any more wrong and are purposefully lying to cover up the truth. My point is Baylor is a much less attractive destination with Mack Rhodes as the AD. What has he done good over the past few years? Pretty much nothing. Baylor's Board of Regents really wanted to make Kim Mulkey the AD for Baylor, but Ken Starr and Reagan Ramsauer refused to allow a woman to be named the athletic director of the university. Drayton McClain was all on board with it, but Starr and Ramsauer refused it. You know, not only that, but when the university told Mulkey they would name the field house after her, she politely declined and requested that the court and field house be named after someone like Doris Miller or another Baylor military veteran. But the board refused to do so, and that is why she left, because she was not respected by the Board of Regents or the trustees. I think the naming rights of the field house are pointless. Hell, call it the Immortal 10 field house. I don't care. But they need to honor Mulkey by erecting a giant statue of her in front of that field house. Mack Rhodes made some really boneheaded hires recently. Matt Rule stunk. Dave Aranda, it's a little too early to tell. I wish you would go after a big name for the women's basketball hire next time, like Bill Laimbeer or Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan wants to get back into coaching. He stated that in the past. He should be an assistant at the very least on Nikki Collins' staff. Another problem I have is with your sources. They're wrong 98% of the time. Get some people who are insiders and use them. Don't just ask random people on the street in Waco.
Hey, Joe,
what they think
Joe, you're going to stay on the call with me because we're going to have a truth serum. I talked to Kim Mulkey. You have no freaking idea who you're talking to about sources. You could say whatever the hell you want. I'm not going to disagree with some of the things you said. My source is Kim Mulkey. I talked to her. Don't ever come into this show and question my sources. Ever again. You can have an opinion about Mack Rhodes. You can have opinions about the Board of Regents. You can have the opinion about donors. But don't you ever try to question my integrity when it comes to sources. Name one time when I've been wrong. I'll wait.
Yeah.
Joe, you there?
No, he hung up.
Yeah. Don't come in here with that crap. You have our number. Call back if you want to defend yourself.
Well, Smokey, I think he's also, why would Michael Jordan be an assistant basketball coach?
That's the dumbest damn thing you've ever said.
He's
Michael
a
Jordan,
billionaire.
He's a multi-billionaire.
He owns an NBA team. So I don't know.
You can defend Kim Mulkey. You can kiss her, hug her, whatever you want with her. This was self-inflicted as much as anything else. And to say Matt Rule was crap, some people only because he could never trust how long he was going to be here. He also kind of made that clear. That doesn't mean that he didn't disappoint a lot of people, including former players and alums. But Matt Rule took over a crap hole. And then 2 years later, they're playing for a Big 12 title, and they're a Chris Platt catch and run 1 inch away from taking the lead in the Big 12 championship game. How can you say that's a bad hire? Because he wasn't here long enough? Well, then say that, but don't call him a crap hire. He's a coach in the NFL. There are 32 of those jobs in America. There are 32 NFL jobs in the world. It was not a crap hire. You could maybe not have trusted him. You may not like him. You may not like him because he's not from Texas. He's not from the Big 12. He's not a Baylor alum. But don't call him a crap hire. You could say you don't like him. That's fine. Don't you ever come in here on this show and question what I report and my sources. I spoke to Kim Mulkey on the Wednesday after she was on a radio station in Baton Rouge, young man, old man, whoever you are. And I haven't shared nearly many of the things we talked about. I would never report what I reported without doing my due diligence, by talking to donors, by talking to people within the organization, by talking to those around Kim, by talking to Sonia Hogue, by talking to former players. I know all this stuff. Everyone's like scared of whatever the truth is. The truth is she's gone. And don't you even come into this place and tell me that she didn't want something named after her. Something with her name on it. Why the hell did Kramer tweet out, put her name on the court? Where did that come from? You want to get truth serum, Joe, in Oklahoma? Let's go. Let's freaking go. I talked to Kim at length. I know exactly what she said to me. I didn't even report all of it. But I did report a couple of things. Whatever the relationship is you have against Mack Rhodes, that's fine. Some people don't like him. He came in here, he's not the same guy. Some people may think he's here short term. Some people may think, well, he's not. You know what? If Kim wanted to still be the women's basketball coach at Baylor, she would be here. She made that decision. What did she want, her back scratched? She want a trophy? What do you want? You want more?
You're the second highest paid basketball coach in America, highest paid assistant staff, great travel budget, great amenities, and about to have a new arena. And that was a line in the sand no matter what the hell anyone wants to be told by her by the time she was hired at LSU. That was a big deal. And if it wasn't, it was when she talked to me about it. You want to question where I get my sources? You better come with better than a phone call. You want to take shots at Baylor, the administration, the Board of Regents? I don't care. It doesn't matter. That's up to you. But you come on this show and you want to question what we're reporting, you can kiss my ass because you're wrong. When we come back, Brian Etheridge on women's basketball and where they are with recruiting, SicEm365 Radio.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and two-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible and rewarding challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like our free First mobile app, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. That's the First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas, and our goal is to bring down the cost of healthcare while maintaining high quality. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. Sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance and there are no hidden costs. Even offering financing if that's needed, everything included in the price, and you'll not get something as a surprise in the mail later on. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. They'll know. You can schedule an appointment safely from home online in minutes at idealmri.com or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI, idealmri.com.
Car has the trucks, man. They have the one for you. Crew cab, short or long bed, silver, black or blue. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, he has the truck for you. Carr has the trucks, man. He has the truck you need. If you want the best truck, you want a GMC. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, they have the truck for you.
At Marco's Pizza, get craveable pizza made the Italian way with dough made from scratch, an original sauce recipe, 3 fresh signature cheeses, and premium toppings you love, served hot and safe. Right now, you can get unlimited medium one-topping pizzas for just $6.99 each. Why stop at just one? Order with your app or at marcos.com for curbside, carryout, or delivery today. Marco's, pizza lovers get it.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio. It's time for our weekly segment with Grayson Grundhafer of SicEm365.com. Brought to you by Pioneer Steel and Pipe, where customer service is their main focus, and best in metal, steel, and pipe for large or small projects, with 2 locations in Waco and Bryan. Family owned and operated since 1943.
All right, here we go. This 3 o'clock hour. Robert Griffin III and his mother, Jacqueline, will join us in the 4 o'clock hour. Mother's Day, and Jacqueline will join us by Zoom, RG3 by phone. We'll have that coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. Grayson normally with us Fridays at this time, but he is busy. And he's on that wedding tour. That at his age, that happens quite a bit. So Brian Etheridge is with us to talk about what his ear to the ground when it comes to women's basketball, with Nikki Collin, the new coach, and also trying to get her staff together and also, as she even mentioned, recruit her own roster. Brian, thanks for your time. So in your opinion, we know that Gusters is LSU. That's a given. That would happen a couple, 3 or 4 days ago. Right now, based on everything else you've heard, where do you think they stand with those that are actually officially a part of the Baylor basketball team?
Well, thanks for having me on, calling me Grayson there, David. But for the intro, I got to come in after your rant before RG3, so it's been coming in on this one. But right now, everything's pointing to everybody staying. That's the good thing about it. There could be one other player that leaves, and that would just be a personal decision moving on into her career. So we're just waiting for that. But right now, we're getting really positive vibes out of the team, around the team of that the rest of the team should be staying.
Nalissa Smith staying is huge. Is that why if you were on the team with Nalissa Smith, the Big 12 Player of the Year, it'd be tough to leave to me if she were going to stay, Brian?
I agree. I mean, that's the one thing. She is the centerpiece of this team. You're bringing her, she stays, she's going to learn from, Coach Collin, and you're going to see her offensive game expand even further. I mean, she would step out and shoot a three every once in a while, but it just never looked natural in the offense. And the offense that we're going to be seeing with, Coach Collin, you're going to run a lot of elevators. You're going to run a lot of screens to free up the three-point shooters. It's similar to what, Golden State runs, what Stanford runs. So you're going to see that open up the floor for someone with her mobility and athleticism to get free. I mean, it's going to help Queen Egbo as well, because you're not going to have people collapsing on her the entire time. And she's a great athlete. Egbo can jump out of the gym. So that's going to be something, we're not used to seeing. We're used to seeing the pounded inside, and takes a three if you're wide open. You're going to see a little bit more of, setting up the three-point ball in the mid-range game as well. So, I mean, every player that's on the team right now could benefit from the offensive staying and getting that exposure of what, the WNBA brings on the offensive end.
Brian Etheridge with us on SicEm365 Radio. I know it's kind of a time where they cannot, the staff, whoever's a part of it, of course, with Nikki as well, that they cannot contact anybody that has not already been signed or committed as far as a part of the class of 2022 and beyond. Is that bad timing, or is that actually give her a chance to kind of decompress, work on what she's doing now and recruiting her own roster, and also trying to see who's going to be a part of her staff moving forward?
I think it was a good time. I mean, that's the one thing about it. You come in, no one can poach your players during that time. If it had been a bad hire or somebody that everyone hated, somebody like a Jeff Walsh. Let's just go out and say it, on Paul's don't hire list. The guy, no one at Baylor likes that guy. No Baylor fan likes that guy. He's hard on his players. He's, the type of defense he plays there at Louisville. If that guy would have come in, I think you just seen a lot of players leave. And I don't think he was even on the list of people contacted, but that's not the kind of ball you want to see played at Baylor, or the kind of ball the players want to see. So you could have seen a lot of players go out there. With Collin coming in with their WNBA experience, I think that in having the time where no one can contact her team, it's allowed them to settle down. She can meet with them one-on-one, go over everything, what she sees for them in the future, and then they can make their decisions at that time.
Yeah, I guess the benefit would be that nobody can call players on her roster either. So since
correct,
yeah, so she doesn't have to.
That gives her a buffer area.
Yeah,
too.
exactly. So she doesn't. Yeah. She can recruit her own team without fear of somebody else calling and going, "Hey, Kim's gone. What do you say?"
Exactly, and that's the one thing right now. You can't contact the 23s yet either. That's not till September. They can go out. We'll be at a AAU tournament on the 15th to watch, some of the 22s and 23s. Get some interviews with them, find out what they think. We've been talking to AAU coaches, some recruits in that range all the way out to 2025, what they think about the hire, and they're all sort of going to wait and see until, she can contact them. I mean, the one thing is you're not going to see anybody just flock to her immediately because it is sort of an unknown of what she's going to do until she puts it on the floor.
Yeah, and that's the case. And now they do have the young lady that's committed down at Wagner High School. And my question is, she wants to watch and see how things unfold. Now that Coach, that she's here, Coach Collin is here, she can't contact her, vice versa, but that's not for another couple of years with her, right? So what do you think might happen with that, with what you think Nikki Collin brings to the table?
I mean, Samuel Wagner did decommit, so she's going to, she opened it back up. Baylor's still in her top list. She can call Coach Collin after the 9th. So she can make the contact after that point, but Collin cannot call her directly. So I expect her family to reach out to Baylor when she's able to, up on the 10th or the 11th in that area, to talk to Coach Collin, to start building that relationship. And that is the one thing about it. During this whole time, she's had the relationship with Coach Mulkey. She's had the relationship with Coach Brock and Coach Messer and everyone else on the staff, and some of those people will be gone. So even though she is a legacy of Baylor, her mother is an A&M, graduate. So you have her getting contacted by all the different schools, when it happens, right? She's going to be recruited by everyone, and she's a top 5 player in the country. She's going to have a ton of suitors. So she, over time, you just got to build a relationship and hope that you can re-land her. I think that that's still a possibility, but at this time, we don't know until she starts building that relationship.
I can't even imagine if, in fact, people could talk to her phone, once she mentioned that she had committed to Baylor and also with Coach Mulkey, even though there's a chance she could still end up at Baylor. Imagine how, and that was before the dead period, right? I can't even imagine who contacted her.
Every coach in the country. Everybody that's, I know there's some schools, I've talked to her family, and there's some schools she does not want to attend. I'm not going to name those or anything like that. I'm not going to share that personal information. But, I mean, you're talking 40-plus schools have already tried to contact her after she decommitted. It's not something, irregular for a player of that caliber just to be recruited by everyone. Mm-hmm. And so she's now having to, build those relationships, see which one she finds, and go from there.
Brian, in the end, they have a roster that's stacked, and of course, with it looks good with Jordan Lewis. She's remained. She's coming to Baylor. There's another transfer that at any moment, depending on, I guess, just the transition may have held it up in the system. She would bring something to the table, plus what they have. And Miriam Dowdy even had told me that she wants to kind of take a deep breath here a little bit. And although she is signed with Baylor, in the end, do they have a roster? If Hannah Gusters is the only one that leaves, isn't this roster good enough to go right back to where they have been the last couple of years, the last 2 or 3 seasons? Because, of course, 2 years ago the season got canceled.
So with Jordan Lewis coming in and running point, it'd be very disappointing to not hit an Elite Eight or Final Four with this team. There is the talent to do that. If Dowda comes in, that's going to be who helps back up Egbo, who gets in foul trouble at times. But the athleticism on this team is Final Four capable.
I agree. I agree with you as well. And who knows? I wonder if there's the possibility, although the roster spots have to be a part of what you're looking at as well, if there's the possibility that they could even add somebody else now that she's here that maybe in the mix decides they want to play for her at Baylor. But, of course, that timeline and that's going up against the clock. I know your ear's against the ground. Thanks for your time. In the end, you follow a lot of what happens when it comes to high school and AAU basketball. In the end, how would you say on a scale of 1 to 10, the hiring of Nikki Collin registers with that particular group?
I think you're about 8.5 right now. I mean, this is it's a solid double to triple, depending on who you talk to. There are some people who are not happy it wasn't someone from the college game. There are people who love the fact it's from the WNBA game. So you have that differentiation. The one thing that will come down to is recruiting. Can she recruit? Can she hire assistants who recruit? And if they bring those recruits on campus, I don't have any doubt of her X's and O's ability. Watching tape on her, watching her, the highlights. I mean, we've gone through YouTube and just pull her offense up, pull her defense up. It's good. She's going to be fine on the X's and O's. It's going to be, who do we bring in, on the bench to play? And that's, so your Jimmys and Joes. She's got the X's and O's. So let's see what happens.
Would be a heck of a deal if she could keep Sammy Wagner from Reagan High School if she does remain or comes back if they have a pretty good year. I mean, a really good year, and who knows even before that. And then also what she does with the coaching staff, whether Bill Brock or Satia Messer. But there's a lot of people in the mix for that as well, plus who she brings that she wants as a part of it as well. Thanks a lot, Brian. Appreciate it. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, David. Thank you, Paul.
Brian Etheridge, SicEm365.com, one of the partners of this site, and one of the guys who had the dream of SicEm365 Radio. When we come back, Jacqueline Griffin, Robert Griffin III, Mother's Day weekend, their thoughts next on SicEm365 Radio. PettyClinicLowT.com, Dr. Kent Petty can help you become the high-performance man that you want to be. How does he do that? Well, one, you have to contact him. Go online, PettyClinicLowT.com. In the left-hand corner, there's a phone number. You could sit there and just call him. Tell them who you are. Tell them what you heard. Tell them you heard it from me. That's fine. And then what will happen is you could maybe tell them, I just don't feel right. Maybe there's your focus, energy. You're not sleeping well, sex drive, whatever, ED, all of the above, or at least something. 1 out of every 3 men have symptomatic issues of low testosterone. It's okay to admit it if you do. And so what he can do is get you blood work, get that appointment set up, check your blood work, check your testosterone levels. They also look for cholesterol and prostate, your PSA level, all that. But check your testosterone level, and if it's too low, they can put you in a program to help you become the high-performance man that you want to be. PettyClinicLowT.com, it's as simple as that. PettyClinicLowT.com, every single day their phone rings with somebody going, hey, I heard about, every day. At PettyClinicLowT.com.
At Baylor University, students can shine in their own way. Or should we say their own ways? Because there's no limit to the ways Baylor students make the world a brighter place. Whether they're leading a student organization or following a higher calling, getting advice from faculty, or taking part in world-class research, pursuing their dreams, or working toward their dream job, students find their place to shine at Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.CamilleJohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones Whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, rye, brimstone, and the all-new lineage in stock. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Do you or your kids get nervous about going to the dentist? Stonewood Dental, Dr. Steve Childress, he can help.
I've spent a career taking care of patients who as children had bad experiences, and now they're adults that hate going to the dentist. If I get a kid at 3 years old and they come every 6 months and it's a happy experience, it's normal for them. Now they have an accident at 6 or 7 or 8 at school. Now they have a broken tooth or a trauma, and they have to come here. They're used to lights, they're used to water in their mouth, they're used to experience, they already trust us. it's amazing what we can do with that kid without it being a negative thing. But if I see a 6 or 7 or 8 year old that's never been to the dentist, and now they have a trauma or an unfortunate unexpected toothache, it's harder to do that for that kid and it not be somewhat of a negative experience. So bottom line is I try to teach kids and adults and teenagers and everybody the way I'd want my family treated, which is where it's a necessary part of life. You just take care of it. It doesn't have to be that big a deal.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
In the market for a quality metal building? Since 1943, Pioneer Steel and Pipe has helped Central Texas residential and commercial customers with metal building design, panel options, building components, and trim options. Pioneer Steel and Pipe's residential line is energy efficient, offers low maintenance, reduces insurance payments, is impact resistant, and carries up to a 45-year limited warranty. In addition, they can also help you find a metal building contractor for your project. Pioneer Steel and Pipe with locations in Waco and Bryan and at pioneersboys.com.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
Purdy escapes, throws downfield, and intercepted. Kalen Barnes comes up with it. Their best cover corner has a broken thumb.
The 4 o'clock hour is sponsored by Boozer's Jewelers, the wedding ring store, specializing in custom jewelry and repair, all in-house. Here's David Smoak and Paul Catalina.
All right, here we are this 4 o'clock hour. At 4:45, Courtney Clary, Staff Sergeant, U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, will join us on what they have going right now. That's at 4:45. Also, we're going to replay the interview with Nikki Collin that we had from earlier this week on the day she was introduced to Baylor in the country. That will be at 5:30. And then also today, a few more notes that we'll have along the way throughout the show. But it is Mother's Day weekend, and we have a special guest, 2 of them. We have Jacqueline Griffin, the mother of Robert Griffin III, Heisman Trophy winner, NFL veteran as well, Baylor, of course, graduate. She joins us on Zoom, Jacqueline Griffin on Zoom, and also Robert Griffin III by phone. And one of the few times we'll start with, instead of Robert, Jacqueline. Jacqueline, your thoughts about Mother's Day, what it means to you. And I know you have an organization that you've developed. We'll get to that in a minute. But just the weekend itself and what it means to you and mothers.
Well, for me, it's all about family. And Mother's Day is special to me because I get to spend time with my kids and grandkids. And I love cooking. And so it's just a week of, this has been a week of planning and wanting to be with them and spend time with them as always. So to me, Mother's Day is really all about my kids and my grandkids.
Robert, I know, just from, following your career and covering you as long as we did, I know your relationship with your mother. She was pretty tight with you. What's she like as a grandmother? I imagine she's pretty much all pro, isn't she?
Oh, I mean, can you guys hear me, by the way?
Yes, sir. Yeah. Yep.
All right, I'm outside down here in Florida enjoying some of this hot weather. But yeah, my mom, her grandkids love her because she doesn't do what she did for me and my sisters. She gives them every single thing that they could possibly imagine. She gives them candy whenever they ask for it, lets them watch TV all day, play games on the phone. But she's doing what grandparents do, right? And she's, the kids love her when they see her, all of her grandkids. And that's just the type of person that she has always been. Even when she was showing us tough love and helping us, raise us to be the people that we are today, we always knew that she had our best interests at heart, and that's what makes her a great mom.
Jacqueline, did you keep things away from Robert and company? I mean, there's something like no candy bars, no candy. What's going on with this?
Well, I was very strict about their diet and making sure that they had a nutritional, diet, because there were certain things that they had to do, especially as athletes, the two youngest ones, Robert and Dejan. So it was important to make sure that their diet matched, their athleticism so that they could produce. So yes, I was very strict about what they ate and, television and all of those things. We were very strict, but we were a military family. Yeah. And so we had to have that structure and discipline. Now I'm a grandmother and I'm not in the military anymore.
Well, hey, look, it works.
Guys, before you ask the next question, let me just go ahead and paint the picture for you, okay? say you're a 13-year-old kid, young man, and you're going to track meet this summer. And you pull up to Mickey D's and you're thinking, man, I'm going to get a big breakfast, maybe a big breakfast with some hot cakes and some syrup and a hash brown. And your mom tells you that you can only have eggs. Mickey D's doesn't even have eggs on the menu. So we would pull up to McDonald's and my parents would ask for 3 side orders of eggs. And you had to go to a track meet for 10 hours on 3 side orders of eggs. That's what they made us do. That's what they put us through. But I tell you what, that type of discipline and structure is really what pushed us to become exactly what we were as athletes. I'm just glad that I can go to Mickey D's and enjoy a bacon, egg, and cheese biscuit.
So at Halloween, would she say, like, listen, no Hershey bars. Do you have, like, apples and oranges in there you can throw in this bag?
We definitely did that a couple of years, but as the years went on, I would say early on we weren't doing the summer track and field, travel basketball, all of that, the 7-on-7 football. Early on, they used to take us on trips all the time, so Halloween was actually enjoyable. We got to eat all the candy in the world and be sick the next day like every other kid in America.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those candy apples as well. They still do that?
I don't know.
Halloween's changed a little bit. Jacqueline, one, you have to defend yourself. You have to absolutely defend yourself on this stuff with Mickey D's.
Well, you see, you can't, like you have a fine car and you want it to perform at its highest peak performance.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, you have to put that premium gasoline in there. And so, to perform, him and his sister, to perform their best at their track meets, volleyball games, basketball games, football, they had to have that premium fuel. And that was those eggs.
Robert, when you did your Heisman...
They didn't feed us gasoline, guys.
Listen.
That'll spread like wildfire.
Hey, I watched some of your high school track meets, Robert. If you had told me you drank gasoline, I would have been all right.
Yeah. Well, now, during your Heisman speech, when you went something about iron sharpens iron or whatever that is, I think you should have brought something into the mix with McDonald's or Halloween candy. That would have been perfect right there. Oh,
I'm pretty sure Mickey D's would have probably tried to give me a sponsorship, but who knows? Maybe this interview will give us one.
Yeah, well, we surely should now. Jacqueline, you have a nonprofit that you're doing, Moms Motivating Moms. It's M3. Your thoughts about that and your organization and mothers and helping them as well.
Well, actually, I am president of the RG3 Foundation, and Moms Motivating Moms falls underneath that umbrella. Mm-hmm. And with Moms Motivating Moms, it's just another thing that we do at the RG3 Foundation and reaching out to help others. Moms Motivating Moms is just all the knowledge and wisdom and experience that I've had over the years. I want to pass it on to other mothers so that they can understand the importance of their role in being there for their children. We have to be intentional and purposeful when we're doing things for our kids. And so a lot of times I had to go out there and find the information that I needed for my kids as far as education, athletics, or anything that they needed to do so they could be successful in their dreams and aspirations. And so instead of keeping all of that knowledge to myself, Moms Motivating Moms, my son was so generous enough to allow me to bring that under the RG3 Foundation umbrella so that we can use that as well as another tool and initiative to help others.
So do you have kind of maybe a one-stop shop for people for motivational tools and just little things like that to where they can figure that out, especially if they're new parents or haven't had to go to a little league or whatever your educational things before?
Absolutely. They can go to the Robert Griffin III Foundation, and they can click under partnerships, and then they can see everything they need to know about Moms Motivating Moms, but also they can see everything that we are doing in the foundation with helping veterans, with helping impoverished youth, with our all of our initiatives. We are really very, very involved in the community, and we want to make sure that we make an impact and use the platform that God has provided Robert with. And so as a result of that, I have the platform to use to help our foundation help others.
Well, that's awesome. Robert, what's it like to be able to, and of course, from the time you won the Heisman to what you did and what you've done in the NFL, and hopefully what you'll continue to do in the NFL as well, whether you do or not, to have this foundation, to do all the things, to have your mother involved, and also helping people who need it?
Yeah, guys, I would say, just to piggyback off of what my mom said, I think it's important to understand where you came from. I think that's what my parents instilled in me the most, that, when you do make it, because, as a parent, I'm a parent now, I strongly believe you have to speak it into existence and speak power into your children. And that's what my parents did for me. So when they told me, hey, when you make it, don't forget where you came from, I took that to heart. And, I've been blessed to have great people around me to be able to set up the foundation and be able to go out in the community and give back. And it's not just about giving money, right? Earlier this year, we gave a bunch of meals during the massive winter storm in Texas. It's not just about giving money or giving meals. We want to be able to give people the tools to be successful. And I think when it comes to my success, I wouldn't be where I'm at today if it wasn't for that family structure, if it wasn't for my mom and my dad. And whether you have a 2-parent household or a 1-parent household, your kids should strive to give their children more than you gave them. And I think that's what my mom and dad really instilled in us. And my mom was the gatekeeper there, because she was the one that was the most present in our lives, because my dad was off doing tours in Afghanistan and Iraq, trying to going out there and sacrificing for his country. Whereas my mom, after her 13 years of service, she was at home. She was the one taking us to the game. She was the one taking us to the practices, everything, and showing it to my dad. And I think parents have to understand that they are one of the biggest factors in their children's lives, and what you speak to your children becomes a reality. So it's been great to be able to work with my mom and to see the great things that she's going to do and continue to do through the foundation. But we want to give people the tools to help their children be successful. And sometimes that's just speaking a positive word. Sometimes that's giving your time. Sometimes that is giving money. But we want to also give them the tools to be successful.
Jacqueline, Mother's Day, there's, obviously, everything's about that, right? I know you're a great father figure, great parents, great grandparents, and family around you, or friends or whatever. But there's just always something about Mother's Day and what it means to children and what it means to the mother. You think Mother's Day means more to the mother or the children who have great mothers?
You're asking me?
Yes, ma'am. Well,
I personally, for me, Mother's Day means more to me than anything, because my kids and my grandkids are my world. And so it means everything to me. And it's not about what they give me. It's just the fact that I know that they're okay, that they're prosperous, they're doing well. And that right there is the greatest gift that they could ever give me.
Robert, you want to send a little go-ahead Mother's Day wish to Jacqueline?
I'll answer the question that you asked my mom about, great mothers, or does it mean more to the mothers? My wife, she's a mother to three kids, to three girls, and I think it means the world to mothers, because they go through that process of having to carry the kid for 9-10 months, and they go through the process of labor. And they're the ones who go through, whether it be the postpartum depression or having to try to lose the baby weight, or all the stress that comes with when you lay the baby down and you're so used to carrying them around. And, maybe you have those moments of, oh my gosh, where's my baby? Is my baby okay? So I think as they see their children grow and they see the appreciation for their kids, it means the most to them. Being a father now, I get to watch my daughters and how they're attached to mom for the first 2 years of their life, and then for the next couple of years they're attached to dad. And sometimes mothers feel like, man, I want my kids to always be there. And I think that that presence of appreciation and when kids can show that appreciation to the moms, I think that means the most to them. So when it comes to my mom, I think I can speak for my two older sisters as well. We're just extremely grateful that she was our mom, that she was the one that helped keep us in line, that has supported us, our entire lives, not just financially, obviously, when we're living under their roof, but emotionally, spiritually. She taught us to be God-fearing kids, and we grew up in the church, but it's all about building that relationship with God. And I think that she's been a great example of that for us. So I just want to say happy Mother's Day to my mom, the glue to our family, the one who kept us all together, kept us all in line. And sometimes when we didn't agree with Dad and the military drill lineman work that we had to do, running up and down Griffin Hill, pulling tires, throwing footballs, all that stuff, she was the one that kept me motivated and kept me in line to say, look, this stuff is going to help you in the future, honor your father. And by doing that, I also was able to honor my mother. So it's a happy Mother's Day to you, Mom.
Well, it's a great way to put it. Jacqueline, one other thing, if you don't mind, how hard is it or how difficult was it to be a mother of someone who was having the kind of attention and also wins a Heisman Trophy, number 2 pick in the draft, NFL career? Was that fun? Was it always joyful, or was that sometimes something that was emotional and tough?
No, for us, for me, it was joyful and it was fun because the groundwork was laid. That structure and that discipline of knowing who you are and knowing your why, and knowing why you're doing what you're doing, and being successful each step of the way. So it was fun. We had so much fun, and Robert has always been grounded, and so because of that, it made it easier. The transitioning from each level to each level made it so much easier. So I would say that because the foundation was laid at such a young age, he was able to stay focused on his why and stay, humble and continue on his journey, because he's not done yet. There's a whole lot left for him to do.
Oh, there's no question about it. Robert, the draft is over. Last question for you. The draft is over. Do you still sit there and kind of have some nibbles? What's going on possibly with your future in the NFL?
Yeah, talking to teams currently, my agent doing that whole deal. We were waiting until after the draft to see how things kind of played out. And, I can't really speak too much on, what teams we're negotiating with and stuff like that. But I've talked to my parents, talked to my wife. My desire is to play football. I want to play football. I love the game. I want to give back. And, that's my passion right now. And, I'll play until they tell me I can't play anymore. That's just the way that I view it. And, I think my mom talking about knowing your why, I think that's why, she said it's been enjoyable. This whole process has been enjoyable because you learn a lot about yourself. And when I was out of the league in 2017, I learned a lot about myself and what I feel like I'm called to do in this world. And obviously that's to inspire, to go out and show people that no matter what happens to you, the only thing that matters is your response. And I think that's been a story of my entire career, even, from high school through college, tearing my ACL in college, coming back and being able to help lead Baylor to what we were able to do. And then going to the pros and having the successful run there in the beginning of my career and then running into injuries. And then, 4 years in, people are thinking, oh, it's over. And now we're looking at 8 years later and I'm still going. So it's been a joy. And as long as you know your why, you know why you're doing what you're doing, you can endure anyhow. So I think that's my message to the people out there who are asking, what do I want to do for my future in football? Guess what, guys? I still want to play ball. And when I get that call, I'll be ready to roll. I know you will be, and good luck with that. Robert Griffin III, we thank you. Jacqueline Griffin, we appreciate you. Again, it's the RG3 Foundation, Moms Motivating Moms. Robert, thank you. Jacqueline, thank you so much. We appreciate it, and enjoy the weekend wherever you're at.
Thank you.
All right, guys.
Thank you, Robert. Jacqueline, thank you so much. Appreciate you. Moms Motivating Moms in Mother's Day weekend. We appreciate them for joining the show. Coming up, there was the story, and Paul mentioned this, closing out the story of the show on Wednesday. Jerry Johnson, the longtime voice of the Baylor Golden Wave Band, passed away earlier this week. We're going to hear from somebody that knows him very, very well. And then also today, Staff Sergeant, again, Courtney Clary is going to be in studio to discuss U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company and what they have for benefits coming up as well for those interested in serving our country. And then at 5 o'clock today, 5:20 or so today, our conversation with Baylor women's basketball coach Nikki Collin. This is SicEm365 Radio.
So I stopped by Riverbend Liquor and Wine today to see Steve Chapman, but he was not there. But I did see the beautiful display of their new Balcones single barrel program, which Balcones has gone around and they have selected, select stores to have their own barrel that you can only buy in those select stores like Riverbend Liquor and Wine. So they have this barrel of whiskey, the single barrel whiskey that you can only get at Riverbend Liquor and Wine. It's in now. It's a beautiful display there. It's aged 5 years and 3 months, an American oak barrel for 2 years, then an Oloroso sherry cask for a year and a half, and then into a Four Roses barrel to finish. So it's 100% Golden Promise malted barley and Simpson malt from the UK, 121.4 proof, so it's pretty sturdy. And, it's going to have a lot of different notes and tones to it when you try that, because it was aged in 3 different barrels and casks, which sounds really cool. I cannot wait to try it. So you can only get that at Riverbend Liquor and Wine. It's just now on the shelves or in the display. Beautiful display they have right out in the front of the store when you go in there. And look, if you want a great selection of wine, they've got it. Craft beer like no one else in town. A wide selection of craft beers constantly rotated through the seasons, always churning the roster thereof the craft beers. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, Lakeshore Drive at North 19th Street. Find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs, too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store.
It takes time to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than sports. It goes for your financial goals as well. You work hard for your money, and you deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. And Tom Albers, your Edward Jones financial advisor, can help. If your financial investments aren't putting forth the effort you desire, stop by today for a financial review. Tom Albers, 4301 Lakeshore Drive, 254-776-7605. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be part of the Waco community. We're a small family business here in Central Texas. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important. And unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. And that's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through this difficult time. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule online in minutes at idealmri.com or call 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Don Humidor, your home with a 48-foot walk-in humidor with the elite cigar brands from around the world, including the #1 cigar of the year, Aging Room Cuatro Nicaragua. Plus, they have the great brands like Macanudo and Artur Fuente, Rocky Patel, Aston, and so much more. CBD, great for sore muscles, aches and pains, sleep, Vita Dreams, and anxiety, mild depression, general health and wellness. Their staff very knowledgeable on the subject. If anyone is curious about CBD, ask Carol and Ashley. Don Humidor in the Townwood Shopping Center off Valley Mills in Waco.
Car has the trucks, man, they have the one for you. Crew cab, short or long bed, silver, black or blue. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, he has the truck for you. Carr has the trucks, man, he has the truck you need. If you want the best truck, you want a GMC. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, they have the truck for you.
This is SicEm365 Radio. Text us at 254-339-1122. The SicEm365 Radio text line is sponsored by Riverbend Liquor and Wine, with the most extensive variety of craft beer in Waco. A hidden gem on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street.
It was on Wednesday afternoon when Paul, he was not here yesterday, but was on Wednesday's show. We closed out the show with some words about Jerry Johnson. Nearly 5 decades, the voice of Baylor's Golden Wave Marching Band whenever they performed at events and much more. And he was more than just the voice of that. He was a great guy. And he passed away earlier this week. And Isaiah Odejima now joins us, the director of the Baylor Golden Wave Band, who obviously knows Jerry Johnson, his impact, and the history and tradition as well. Isaiah, I know it's difficult, but thank you so much, because Jerry deserves for us to talk about him, and many others have as well. One, just who was Jerry to you?
Thanks, you guys, for having me on before I get started. Man, Jerry was an amazing person for me in many ways. You know, it's interesting because of my background and history with Baylor. I had been here now 4 separate times, and I was here as a grad student, and then another time as an adjunct person, and then another time as the assistant director, and now as the director. And Jerry was there through all that, and he was a really important person for me with just the mentorship that he would provide, just in the level of support. And I think that's the biggest thing that I remember about him, and the things that I really, when I think about who he was, and you know, he was obviously part of the family. He was a huge friend for me, but also a great mentor. He was so kind in the way that he, if there was something that maybe I didn't think was going very well, or maybe something that a direction that we were trying to change with regard to the marching band, and he could sense that, he was always so professional with trying to say just the right things, and always trying to stay out of my way, but always be super supportive. And you know, he was always there. He loved the energy of the kids. He loved being around the students. He was a member of the Golden Wave Band back in the day, and he was at every trip we ever went to. He never missed. He was just a great mentor and friend, and I could ask him anything. I would ask him everything from, he was a professor of marketing, but we could talk about stocks. We could talk about politics. If I had an issue that was related to how do I go about, handling the red tape of this activity, or how do I go about, how can I convince someone about how great this marching band is and the students that are involved, and how can I reach other people? I would rely on Jerry's expertise so much, because he just had been there and done it, and he was such a loyal supporter. So he means the world to us.
Isaiah, I've known him. He used to call into the radio show doing this character Aggie Owl from the very beginning of my radio career. And the one thing I thought about when I heard is that he was a gentleman in every sense of the word, wasn't he?
Oh my gosh, absolutely. I mean, he really knew how to handle himself in all areas. And, Paul, you got the opportunity to hear the crazy fun side of Jerry. I mean, and not everybody actually knew that about him, because he was so kind and caring, and such a consummate professional. The people who just knew him from maybe church and weren't in his life group, or weren't involved in his study groups, or didn't know him really well. Just knew him as again, I would say a consummate professional and gentleman. He was just kind to everybody, and he cared. He always asked, how are you doing? He would take the time to learn the names of your family members and your kids, and he would ask about that, whether you're in a social setting or in at a business, whatever the case may be. He genuinely cared, and so it was amazing to see. He was just, again, a great mentor, just a great human being, and I enjoyed that part of it. And then if you were lucky enough to be on the inside group or to witness to see the Aggie Al character, oh my gosh, he was an absolute riot of a human, and just had so much joy. It was a lot of fun.
His voice was, well, there's certain voices that when you hear it, you know who it is, and his was as well. When you were down in the field, there's a lot of commotion, there's a lot of noise, there's a lot of everything. You're trying to get ready for what is going to be the halftime performance or wherever you were. When you heard his voice, what did that mean to you and the band?
Wow, that's a really great question. It meant a lot of different things throughout the years. And like I said, I've had an opportunity to be here at multiple stages of the band's development. So, back in the 90s, back in the mid 90s, when we were still a part of the Southwest Conference, he was a lot more youthful, and he had a lot of energy and excitement. And when his voice came on, you could hear the absolute joy and love that he had for Baylor and for the marching band. I mean, you would have thought that he was announcing, the greatest thing that had ever come about. Mm-hmm. And I really loved that. And then as he got a little bit older and things, I guess the energy goes down a little bit. But when I would hear him, I'll never forget the first time when I took over the job, knowing, and I had to stand on the center podium to do the pregame show. And my leg was shaking as I stood on the podium. The people down at the bottom were holding on the ladder, and they were holding on really tight because they could tell I was really nervous. And, when I heard his announcement, it was sort of this moment like, oh my goodness, this is happening. It was his voice that kind of let me know, no, this is the real deal. This is the show. We're doing it right now. Mm-hmm. And it was my first time to do it, with that group under my helm, and it was a powerful moment. And I told him that I was really nervous till I had heard his voice come over the speaker system, and it meant so much to me back then. And then, of course, in our later time, in our recent years, he's just family. It's a sense of comfort. He was, to hear him do the shows, and then particularly the times that we spent in what we call the fifth quarter of the post-game show, where he would do the announcing during that time. Or, when we were down at Orlando last time for whatever bowl game that was we were at, the last time we were going to play North Carolina. And,
yep.
Any of the bowl games where he would do the announcing, and we'd have to do special events like a battle of the bands, and we'd ask Jerry to just come up and improvise and introduce our tunes. I mean, he was great, and he knew exactly how we did it and what to say.
Again, Isaiah Odajima, the director of the Golden Wave Band, the Baylor Golden Wave Band, with us on SicEm365 Radio. I'm going to read a couple of comments from the message board when his story was put up. I'll do that in a minute. Paul, anything else for Isaiah?
No, go ahead.
Let's see. Dr. Jerry, you will truly be missed by your family and friends, church family, your Baylor family. I was lucky to be a part of all three. Good man, heartbreaking loss to Baylor Nation and his family. Will always remember Aggie Al's impressions. Had the pleasure of taking one of his courses in the fall of 2013. Great man, R.I.P. Never much on names, but when I'd see him, he'd always give me a "Hey guy," my management professor. Yeah, is that probably, yeah. Let me see. And there's so, I didn't. Just wanted to put, let's see here. Had such enthusiasm that came through in his voice. Sorry to hear he passed. We'll pray that God will comfort his family and friends. Great memories and remembrances. Thoroughly enjoyed him in class. His test was a beast, though. I skipped the day we got our midterms back because I was afraid I'd done so poorly. Turns out I was one of 3 that passed. He will sorely be missed at the Hankomer Business Group and also, or the business, School, and also on game days. Let's see. I first met Dr. Johnson in 1977 as a freshman in the Golden Way. When I saw him in 2014 at the Alumni Band Day after my long hiatus from the Golden Way Band, he immediately remembered by name. I was humbled. That's the kind of man that he was. Never put together how long I had heard that voice introduced to songs. Attended through the years, grew up in Waco, started attending games in the mid-'70s with my parents. I could almost recite his lines from memory. I will never forget the voice is a great part of Baylor, and condolences to your family. And these are just some, there's pages upon pages of people talking about Jerry Johnson. Isaiah, thank you so much. And none of that, right? I mean, we could go on forever talking about him.
Yeah, we really could.
Good luck.
Really could.
Good luck in how I know this affects everybody within what you do, the members of the band, the Golden Wave Band, the community at Baylor, and also, of course, Jerry and his family and friends as well. And thanks for jumping on the show with us today.
Well, thank you guys for having me, and thanks for taking time to memorialize Jerry, because he really is such an important part of all of our community of Waco, Baylor, and obviously for the band and the School of Business. And just thanks for taking the time to do that, because he was a very special man and will always have a very important place in our hearts in Baylor Nation. So thank you so much, you guys.
Thank you, Doctor. Appreciate it. Dr. Isaiah Odajima on Jerry Johnson, who passed away earlier this week, the voice for 46 years introducing the Baylor Golden Wave Band. All right, when we come back, we're going to discuss U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, what's going on right now, the benefits, the U.S. Army Recruiting Company, and Courtney Clary will join us here. He's in studio. Staff Sergeant Courtney Clary's in studio. He'll join us at 5:20 today. Baylor women's basketball coach will have Nikki Collin on the show from our interview on Wednesday, plus much more. Armstrong Sims runs the mothership. Paul Catalina, David Smoak. This is SicEm365 Radio. I'll never forget when we announced that we were going to do a radio show back in late March, that one of the very first people to contact me was Dr. Rob Maxey at Ideal MRI, idealmri.com. They have their location in the Central Texas Marketplace off of I-35 and the access road on Loop 340 and Highway 6. He said, I want to be a part of the show. Dr. Maxey had heard me, I guess, when I was in East Texas a little bit for many years. He also had kept up with what we had been doing with the radio station where we were, and also was a member of the site for SicEm365.com. He said, we want to be a part of it. Send me some options. I did. He called me back, I believe, almost immediately and said, we want to title sponsor your show. We'd not even been on the air. We had not been on the air. We didn't even know we were going to broadcast the first show. And here we are now 13 months later with this amazing state-of-the-art technology in studio, just like the state-of-the-art technology that you get from Ideal MRI in the Central Texas Marketplace. What do? They figure out with evidence and pictures, images of what hurts you so much when it comes to muscles or ligaments, whether it's your shoulder and a rotator cuff or a torn labrum, or maybe an ACL or something ligament, or something else that just hurts so much you cannot function. And it hurts enough where you cannot sleep. And it hurts enough where you're tired of it hurting and you want answers. So you've been to the doctor, and the doctor has said, okay, we need to get an MRI to make sure we can pinpoint exactly what's the problem. And that's exactly what they do. And he's even better. $497 or less every single time at Ideal MRI. $497 or less when an MRI averages $1,100. Averages. So you can imagine how much you can save, hundreds if not thousands of dollars at idealmri.com.
With more than 160,000 alumni worldwide and counting, the Baylor family is growing. And through the university's expanded Baylor alumni program, the family is growing closer. With hundreds of local volunteers planning events in cities and towns around the country, you can gather with fellow Bears no matter where you are. So, get connected, get something started, get involved, and make plans to get together with Baylor alumni. Visit us at baylor.edu/alumni.
Allen Samuels is holding the Ram Spotlight Sales Event on the new 2021 Ram Lone Star Crew Cab trucks at Allen Samuels. The three-peat Motor Trend Truck of the Year is built to serve. This truck is perfect for whatever your lifestyle calls for. Impressive towing, high-strength steel frame, and the smoothest, most comfortable ride of any truck. Allen Samuels, located at 201 West Loop 340 in Waco. Come see the Ram Lone Star Crew Cab. The Ram Spotlight Sales Event won't last long. Visit Allen Samuels today or online at AllenSamuelsDCJ.com.
Come by, let's be friends.
Stepping into a new pair of boots is great, but stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can also add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. There are more than 150 occupational specialties to help them find the best fit for their future. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like First Free Checking, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
It's time to fire up the grill, heat up the oven, or get that deep fryer going to enjoy the top quality products at Waco Custom Marketplace. Order 30-pound sacks of live crawfish by 6 on Wednesday. Pick up on Friday afternoon after 2 or Saturday. Enjoy the weekend. 30-pound sacks of live crawfish available right now for $4.25 a pound. Find all the crawfish boil ingredients you need, including red beef potatoes, sausage, corn cobbettes, and Louisiana boil seasoning. Make your order for live crawfish by Wednesday at 6. Pick up on Friday after 2 or all day Saturday, and enjoy the weekend. Waco Custom Marketplace, your home for fresh baked kolache, cinnamon rolls every day. Butcher shop to cut your steaks the way you want. Fresh seafood, summer sausage, boudin, house cured and smoked bacon, spices, seasoning, soup mixes, and more, and weekly gift boxes for any occasion. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
At Marco's Pizza, get craveable pizza made the Italian way with dough made from scratch, an original sauce recipe, 3 fresh signature cheeses, and premium toppings you love, served hot and safe. Right now, you can get unlimited medium one-topping pizzas for just $6.99 each. Why stop at just one? Order with your app or at marcos.com for curbside, carryout, or delivery today. Marco's, pizza lovers get it.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio. Are you a SicEm365 superfan? Then try out our premium subscriptions at SicEm365.com.
Yeah, I told everybody it was about 2 or 3 weeks ago. I was up northeast of Dallas, and I was going to be a part of the Black Knights jumping out of an airplane with a parachute.
And you checking out?
No, I did not. Mother Nature.
It was cloudy. I mean,
you have to have 7,500 feet, I think, to be able to jump out of an airplane, and it was like at 5,800. Eventually, later that afternoon, maybe an hour or so later, maybe I did chicken out. They cleared, and they started jumping. But I was so ready to do that, and
not for all the tea in China for me. Honestly, I could not do it.
Well, let me tell you something.
Mostly just for the person who'd be strapped to me and hearing a grown man cry 30,000 feet all the way down.
Alfredo Ferreira, who is a part of the marketing, a part of what happens with the U.S. Army, and, of course, Dominique Williams, an amazing woman who's a part of the U.S. Waco Recruiting Company, U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, what she does. We have right now Staff Sergeant Courtney Clary. He's a McGregor native, went to McGregor High School, and he's here to kind of give us an idea about right now being a part of the U.S. Army and the incentives, the benefits, but also to tell his story. And, man, it's great to have you in the studio. What do you think of our place, by the way, first of all?
I'm going to tell you, this is awesome. This is fantastic. So thank you guys so much for having me.
Yeah, it's glad for you. Happy for you to be here as well. So how did you what was it with you getting into the United States Army?
Well, I would say that, like you said, I was a graduate of McGregor in 2012, and I was actually working at the Brookshire Brothers over there. I was sacking and stocking groceries and whatnot, and I wanted to do more. I wanted to get out and get away because, I kind of felt trapped, And whenever you're a senior, your life is coming at you at 100 miles an hour. You're just trying to figure out whatever it is that you can do. And I met a recruiter. He asked me if I wanted to take the ASVAB. I said, sure, why not? And I scored really well on it. And he started talking about the job opportunities that were available. He was hitting me with the power stats. We got 150 jobs available, the 50-plus medical jobs and things like that. And the medical portion caught my ear. And I was like, yeah, what do you got for medical stuff? And he started explaining to me my current job, which is a laboratory technician, explaining it to me in the best way that he could. I started doing some research, and I realized, that was the one for me. And let me tell you, it's been a wild ride. I've been in for 8 years. I've been to 15 countries. We were able to do a lot of COVID response stuff while I was stationed in Europe. So it has been an absolute blessing, to say the least.
So, I mean, you're a lot of people can get intimidated by the Army because it's a heavy responsibility, as you know, and you've done some heavy stuff, but there's a lot of joy in your voice when you talk about it.
Oh,
you seem to really love what you're able to do. And there's a lot of people who, like you yourself, was it one of those things did you ever think about it before you talked to that recruiter, like when you were younger, or
to be completely honest, no. I'm a first-generation military. Nobody, no great-grandfathers, no nothing like that was in the military. So it was something that I hadn't even really considered beforehand. And to realize that this was such a wild opportunity that was just available for anyone who qualified was like a golden ticket for me. So, yeah, I had never actually considered it before I spoke to a recruiter.
So let's say right now there's somebody out there watching or will see this because it's going to be video and audio podcasted. We'll have it up. It'll run and run and run. Somebody's not sure. This is graduation time.
Very busy time for
high
us.
school graduates, college graduates, and there's someone who's still not quite sure what they want to do, or they have always had an interest in at least knowing a little bit more about serving our country, because that's what I look at it, whether it's the U.S. Army or anywhere else. What do you say to them?
As far as you're going to have to make a lot of big decisions, right? And a lot of those decisions are going to impact you for the rest of your life. Now, what I did was, when I made the decision to join the Army, there's been many times where I've considered getting out or thought about going down a different path. And the passion that I have for teaching, the passion that I have for coaching, and the passion that I have for the medical field has always kept me in. When I first joined, my two goals were to travel and get my education. And through the Army education system with AIT, with Advanced Individual Training, I got 60 credits right out of AIT. As a 19-year-old kid, I had my associates in clinical laboratory science. Boom, right there. And I got stationed at Fort Hood. And as somebody who wanted to travel, I was a little on the fence about that one, but that allowed me to kind of focus on my education, so the Army has $4,000 of tuition assistance that you can use, that's not your GI Bill. So I'd use that time to focus on my degree, finish my associates, and now moving towards my bachelor's. And the transition for my family was a lot easier because I was at Fort Hood. But I was able to go from there to Landstuhl Regional Medical Center in Germany, and I lived in Europe for 3 years, So what I'm telling these guys is get out of your hometown. And when I tell these high school kids and I tell college kids that, they say, oh, yeah, I am. I'm going to go to Dallas or I'm going to go to Austin. I'm like, man, I've been to 15 countries. Go to Dublin. Go to Amsterdam. Go to, Krakow, Poland. See how they're living and have a cold beverage of choice with them and talk about what their life is like. It'll open your mind like you've never imagined.
So 15 countries in 8 years. What's the one that you would want to go back to? What's the one that you maybe would put down on the list of if I had to?
Oh, hands down, I'm definitely going back to Ireland someday. That was an absolutely amazing experience. Of course, they all spoke English over there, which is, I don't know if you know, it's a big deal. And because when you're in Germany or you're in Poland and they're all speaking Polish and whatnot, it's hard to get around sometimes. But I'm definitely going back to Ireland. One that I might not go back to, and all these are beautiful countries. I just didn't get to experience Kosovo and Romania the way that I wanted to, because of the pandemic and because of what we were doing over there. But those would probably be on the other end of the list.
Well, Dracula's from Romania, so you got to be careful. Do you know that, Smokey?
Is he still alive?
I mean, he's undead.
Yeah, at night.
So.
Sergeant Clary, I have said this story many, many times. I did not serve. My father did. Paul's father did. He was in U.S. Army. My father was a Naval Academy graduate and then ended up in the Air Force for a long, long time. I would not be who I am as far as knowing more than I do or knowing what I do without the time I spent as a military brat. And every 3 or 4 years, we were somewhere. Including Japan for 4 years, 8th grade through junior year, and then back, or in Guam, or the constant different parts of the country that we were a part of. I can't explain, because there are some who've never left Waco, some who have never left McGregor, even though it's basically a part of Waco, or someone who's never left Dallas or Houston or whatever. And that alone, the experience of seeing how other people live and other cultures, and then realizing what you have, even though some of them are amazing cultures, to me was the most exciting part of being a military brat.
I would say that absolutely, yeah. Being able to leave and knowing how you grew up here in Texas, the values that we have, the morals that we have, you never lose that. You never lose home. You never lose who you are. And traveling and going and sitting and talking to these people and seeing how their life is and how the German government works, or how things work in the Netherlands, and those things are gonna really just expose you in a way. It's so hard to put it into words. I'm sorry, I'm really struggling here, but I'm telling you, it is something I'm so passionate about because of the feelings that it gets out of me. That feeling of, wow, I'm standing in a mountain in Switzerland, and this is the first time I've ever snowboarded. That was the moment for me where I realized I need to go into recruiting. Like, I need to tell people this story and give people these opportunities, because I can't even really put it into words sometimes.
So you mentioned Kosovo, you mentioned Germany, you mentioned Switzerland. Can you throw out 5 or 6 more countries? I mean,
let's see if I can. Put me on the spot here. Spain, the Vatican City, Poland, the Czech Republic, Ireland, the UK. Let's see here. Oh,
that's about 10 because of the other ones you mentioned right there.
I have a list. Sometimes I forget where I've been.
No, that means you've been a lot of places as well.
I think a lot of soldiers probably feel that way, though. Like you say, have you been to Ireland? Have I? Yeah. It's a whirlwind existence, but that you said that is the things you would get to learn. You would never get to learn in kind of, like you said, if you should go to, I'm going to school in Dallas. All right.
Hey,
and good luck.
Go haven't. Yeah. I've been also to 15 states as well. Right. So, you do a lot of flying, and I was always told, hey, if the layover's long enough to have a cold beer, then you've been there. Yeah. And so I always count those states in there.
No question about it. Sergeant Clary with us again, U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company on SicEm365 Radio, medical lab specialist. And you were doing this, obviously you'd been doing it much before, 13 or 14 months ago when all hell broke loose with COVID, and you've been around the world as a part of that as well. I can't even imagine some of the stories, but just to see where we are now compared to where we were 13 to 15 months ago, are you happy? Are we good?
Yeah, absolutely. The progress that we've made is astounding. From the first phone call that I got there, I was working in operations at Regional Health Command Europe, and I was one of the few lab techs at the time that weren't stationed in a hospital. And I got the call of, hey, we need lab techs out in the Baltics to do COVID response and testing. And I said, yeah, sure, send me out there, let's go. And they said, all right, pack a bag in a box, and, it'll be a couple of weeks. That's how it kind of goes, and it ended up being a couple of months. But, we fly into Romania, and I'm telling you, they gave me a BioFire, the machine that I ran all the COVID testing on, and they put me on a 4-seater airplane. And, look, I don't like flying as much as the next guy. I've flown a lot, but I don't like it. And you ever flown on a plane that small?
Yeah.
I was getting ready to have that happen to me, I think. 4-seater. I've been in a 4-seater one time,
The pilots, they had a blast because every time there was, turbulence, I'm over here like, I'm holding on to the seat for dear life, and they're having a blast laughing at me and whatnot. But we get there, and And the whole post, everywhere you go, is shut down. Obviously, they're quarantined, trying to keep everyone safe. And between me and the other lab tech there, between the 3 places we went and then the surveillance testing that we set up, we were able to test 2,000 people. That's Kosovars, that's Romanians, that's soldiers, civilians. And to be a part of the humanitarian operations that the Army gets involved in was something that I really didn't know that we did. You know, a lot of people thought it's all combat, all things like that.
Right.
And it's sometimes it's the furthest thing from that.
So one of the things that you have when you join the United States Army, there's benefits and there's also incentives. You talked about the GI Bill, you talked about education and some of the money going towards a degree or whatever. What are some things right now that is there anything you would like to share or you can share for somebody that understands? First of all, the medical benefits among anything else, it's incredible. You're working for, Uncle Sam. You're a part of fighting for our country in many ways. Even if you're not fighting, you're still serving the country. And this got to be the most powerful thing possible.
Yeah, of course, the benefit of knowing that you're being a part of something bigger than yourself, right? That's, of course, one of the main things and the reason why people serve. And it was one of the reasons that got me to serve at a young age of 18. But now, I'm 27, and now I'm trying to look more into the future of how I'm going to retire, where I'm going to live. I used my VA loan to buy a house here in Waco, that I'll always have a piece of home with me that I own, But also, we've got coming up is National Hiring Days. It's going to be May 10th through June 14th. We have bonuses ranging from $2,000 to $40,000 for 11 primary MOSs are jobs that we're trying to push right now.
Right.
But, there are over 150 job opportunities and over 50 plus, medical opportunities that are there for, if you're wanting to get into the medical field as well. The insurance you talked about, 100% coverage. I mean, we got to make sure you can walk, run, and move and shoot and communicate, so we got to take care of you and your family as well, But I could talk for hours on that. I'm obviously a recruiter. I do it all day, but I love it every minute of it.
Yeah, but there's a difference between you're a recruiter who loves what you're talking about. Like what we love sometimes, there's not always a bunch of easy stories in sports these days, but we love discussing sports or whatever. And in your particular case, you can tell that you love it, no question. So how can someone get in touch with you?
Oh, well, there's a lot of different ways, right? Obviously, COVID has changed a lot of our ability to get into high schools, to get into colleges. So we do a lot of work on social media. You can follow me on social media on any of them, and at Waco_recruit. I'm on TikTok now. It's crazy. I never thought I would have downloaded it.
Army is on TikTok.
I never would have thought I would have downloaded TikTok, to be honest with you. I got Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, all those. You can reach out to me on my personal cell phone as well. That's 254-227-0234. And you can reach out, text if you've got questions, or you can always come by the office at 5301 Bosque Boulevard. That's right next to the Target. So I always recommend go grab you a Starbucks, come on in and sit and chill and talk with us about your options.
Yeah, I'm telling you, you do a great job. Dominique is fantastic. Dominique Wilkins, Alfredo is unbelievable. He's the one that tried to get me up in the plane, and Mother Nature decided it was not worth it at that day. I'm so mad I missed that. I was ready. I was ready to go.
You sound beside yourself.
You don't see any airborne badges over here. I'm not jumping out of a plane for a reason as well. So.
Well, that guy that has his basically entire body strapped around mine with all the different bells and whistles that they have to make it safe I was looking forward to that. Alfredo Ferrer again, who's a part of it as well, and then again you and Dominique, Staff Sergeant Courtney Clary. Thank you, man. It's great to have you on. We appreciate it. Stay in touch, and if anyone calls or texts, or you want to know some of the information that he just threw out, I wrote down the number. I have his number saved, and I can get in touch with any of those people I mentioned as well. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Thank you so much. This has truly been a dream come true.
Oh, for us, the U.S. Army, my goodness, serving our country on something that's bigger than you as well. It's Staff Sergeant Courtney Clary of the U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, back with the 5 o'clock hour, SicEm365 Radio.
I hate my job, but I don't mind getting up in the morning. I dread each day, but I can't wait to get out of bed. You ask me why, and what I'll say to you is true. Well, you can get breakfast tacos at Rudy's Barbecue. Scrambled eggs and brisket, they ain't fooling around. Sausage wraps, son, they're the best in town. Barbecue for breakfast, yes, it's true. Put a smile on your morning at Rudy's Barbecue. Next in line.
Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness was built to help give you a chance to enjoy elite tennis facilities and also remain fit or reshape your body. Now Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness has gone through its own physical changes. There are 7 large flat screens stretched across the main and improved weight room with Wi-Fi available and their own app to enjoy news, business, weather, or sports channels. The beautiful sound of active treadmills and elliptical machines, group exercise classes throughout each day, a new ballet bar for bar classes, a new look lounge and bar with beer and wine with more large flat screens available. Touchless water fountains outside each spacious men's and women's locker rooms, showers, sauna, and whirlpool. Upgraded PA system throughout the world-class tennis courts and lessons for adults and juniors. I promise you'll look and feel better. You just need to walk through the front door. Also, Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness with personal trainers Christy London and Randall Corley. 40-plus group exercise classes, including twice-a-week boot camp. So start today, not tomorrow, at Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lakeshore Drive in Waco.
After my first car accident, I feared the biggest damage would be to my wallet. I expected a mountain of bills and a long, drawn-out process. But my Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent was there when I needed her and helped me get back on my feet and in my car in no time. Instead of a hassle, I got reassurance and a quick recovery.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
You want to know why Stonewood Dental is so successful? Listen to what happy customers have to say.
It's pleasant. It's different than any other dentist office. I really feel like they care. And it's not that you're here for 2 hours waiting on someone to take care of you. It's quick and easy, and I bring my kids, and my kids love being here too. They really love the treasure box. Staff is really nice and accommodating, real friendly. You feel more like home. It's not sterile looking. Everybody has their own personalized rooms with decorations and decor, and they'll even have a blanket for you when it's cold. I've recommended people to actually come here, and they are patients now. I really love it here. It feels like family.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
Flagler reaching in with the steal, and now Mitchell gets around Moody.
And Meyer can drill it.
He does! Off the bench, Matthew Meyer with the 3.
The 5 o'clock hour is sponsored by Edward Jones Investments with financial advisor Tom Albers, staying in touch with you and your money through these difficult and changing times. Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Here's David Smoak and Paul Catalina.
All right, start this 5 o'clock hour. It seemed like to me the week was supposed to be over 3 days ago, and yet I looked up and it was only Tuesday. And then next thing you know, here we are. It is Friday afternoon, and we appreciate Staff Sergeant Courtney Clary from McGregor, part of the U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, for coming in studio today to tell his story, which is an amazing story as well. All right, now, we had Robert Griffin III on along with his mother, Jacqueline, in the last hour. The list of quarterbacks available if Green Bay wants to bring somebody else in. 254-339-1122. Your calls, questions, and text as well. Plus, I'm about to jump back into the YouTube chat. Not sure what's going on with that. I saw that earlier today. We'll get back into with that as well. So here are the names of the quarterbacks. This is not your 5, is it, Paul?
No.
Okay, good.
It's Fun Friday today, so.
Here are the ones who are, if you look at the free agents that are somewhat, you may not like them, but here are some of the names. Matt Barkley of the Bills. If this is to bring in with Jordan Love, correct?
Yeah.
Blake Bortles.
Are these people who are not going to scare Jordan Love? Is that what?
No, it's just somebody as a body, Paul. It could be you and me, but these are guys who actually are athletes.
Yeah.
Jeff Driscoll.
Jeff Driscoll just worked out for the Cowboys, and they're not going to sign him. At least right now.
Brian Hoyer, who's always a go-to, right?
Yeah, Brian Hoyer's a guy I wouldn't mind having on my team, honestly.
Right. Nick Mullins. San Francisco.
I like Nick Mullins, actually.
Brett Hundley with the Cardinals.
Yeah.
With the Cardinals. Robert Griffin III.
I mean, he'd be my first choice of that list because he's at the highest ceiling.
All right, so if you're a team that just went through the draft, some drafted what they hope is their future, some drafted what they hope is insurance, some drafted somebody who might be a project. But who is the next best available veteran free agent? Is it Robert?
I think he's got the highest ceiling. So if you want somebody to be able to probably, granted, I mean, his injury history does scare you, but compared to all these other guys, yeah, he's got the highest ceiling.
Okay.
I would probably rank him Griffin, Hoyer, Mullins, Bortles, Barkley, Driscoll. Driscoll's got a lot of starts. I mean, I say a lot of starts. A lot of starts for a guy who's a career backup. He's got 9 starts. So, I don't know. I only know that because I read it about him, working out with the Cowboys today. So, I would love to see, just on basis of the way he could run the offense, similarly, the Cowboys are looking for a veteran backup. And he mentioned it the last time he was on with us. Robert would love to go to the Cowboys and be Dak's backup. I think that fits. I think that they have similar skill sets, so you don't have to change too much when the backup comes in. But, who knows?
It sounds like, based on what he said, but what he could not say, is that there is maybe some communication between his agent and a few teams.
Yeah, and there should be right now. I mean, again, those guys are all kind of in the same boat, but you start figuring out, who's you after the draft, you got this rookie quarterback, you didn't get a guy maybe until the 6th or 7th round. You need a veteran in there, so.
All right. You gave me this story, 254-339-1122, and we do have some text messages coming in. Diane.
There's some calls, too.
All right, then that's even better. So from Diane, it's already been a fun in Capital Words Friday, waiting to see how Paul tops it.
I don't know if I'm going to top it. I think people are going to kind of get mad at me, so I'll just tell you.
All right, from the 562, well, he was just talking about me getting a little bit emotional about the caller. Thank you very much to the 562. We need to move on from Kim. She's gone. From the 254, this is Smokey. I don't always agree with you, but I always respect the hustle you put into your work. Your integrity is beyond reproach. Thanks for the taking down the clown. And I know I probably talked to him that way. The part that I gotta clarify this. The part that upset me was I've talked to everybody involved in that story. Everybody. And I'm not a clicks and views person, even though this video will end up maybe getting 100 people. I don't know. But that's the part that bothered me. He wants to talk about Baylor's Board of Regents, the administration, his opinion about whether he thinks the AD and Mac Rhodes, or who wants to. And the part that it got stupid, in my opinion, was the Bill Laimbeer and Michael Jordan being the next coach, or somebody who didn't want their name on a court. Please.
Well, see,
I'm not.
I was about to drop his call, but when he said Michael Jordan should be an assistant, just because. All right, that idea. I mean, the other things that have to be in your brain for you to go I'm going to say these words. That Michael Jordan should be an assistant women's basketball coach, a job he has never held. And in spite of the fact that he's a multi-billionaire who owns an NBA team and a NASCAR team, and whatever else the hell he wants, is going to come to Waco, Texas, a town I promise you he has never been to.
Michael
has never been here.
No, he might have been here for a card collecting show or something.
There is no chance that Michael Jordan, I mean, he's maybe been through here, over it. He's never even driven through here. He's been over Waco. He's never sat boots in the ground and been in the 254.
Did you use boots in the ground because of Sergeant Clary was in the studio?
Maybe so, but his sneakers have never been on the ground in the 254. It's never happened.
If you have evidence
He has. Please tell me.
If you have seen Michael Jordan in the 254, then you need to let us know where it was.
That's the 254 is everywhere from
McLennan County,
from Hillsboro.
That's not
all the 254.
Okay,
all the way to Killeen. So any of their anywhere. Killeen's maybe got a shot because they got Fort Hood.
I am so hoping somebody
I hope somebody does. But I promise you. But if that's like one time. And then it's not like he's sitting in Charlotte going, man, I really wish Nikki Collin would call me. She's got to call me. She better call me. Oh, darn. I'm out of this job. I mean, what am I going to do?
Maybe his franchise wants them to call him. How are they doing right now?
Anymore? They're okay.
They're okay. All right, here we go.
They got LaMelo Ball.
All right, let's go to the call.
All right, Marshall. You're on SicEm365 Radio.
Hey, how's it going, fellas?
Doing great, thank you.
All right, hey, glad to hear y'all today. Just wanted to share a little laugh, maybe share a little joy with everybody. I got my favorite football joke. It's an old one, but I'm going to change it up to the end, so even if y'all heard it, bear with me a sec. All right, so last year, Kobe Bryant, he passes up to heaven. He meets St. Peter at the pearly gates, and he says, well, I feel like I know everything there is to know about basketball. Y'all got any football up here? It's like, oh, yeah. So he takes him to the Heavenly Football Stadium. And anyway, so he's watching them for a while, and he starts to notice something weird on their jerseys, that there's not numbers, there's just letters. So he's asking Peter, what is that all that about? What is RB? What is WR? He says, oh, we don't use numbers. We just name the position, wide receiver, tight end, running back. It's like, oh, okay. So then he looks for a little while longer and says, well, okay, well, who's that guy? Who's PM? I don't know. I don't recognize that position. And St. Peter just rolls his eyes and says, that's just God. He thinks he's Patrick Mahomes.
I had no idea, and I was very nervous about where this might be going.
I like that one, Marshall.
Oh, my God.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Thank you, Marshall. Have a great weekend. I saw Bobby Stroop, a good friend of ours who has APEC, those athletic performance enhancement center locations, both in Tyler and also the one in Fort Worth. And he put up a video of Patrick Mahomes, and he said in a very sarcastic way, it's just raw talent. And he is going through a workout and all the little tedious things from a kettlebell to the bands to everything in between about all the work he's doing. Stretching to weights to, all of that, to cardio. No, it's just natural ability.
Yeah.
No, a lot of people have natural ability. It's how do you use it? Are you smart with it? Are you disciplined? And also, do you know how to go to that extra, let's say, 5 or 10 or 20 minutes in an exercise workout to be able to take advantage of what God gave you?
If the Justin Fields trade does not work out for the Bears, moving up to get him, and I hope it does. The Bears have not had a franchise quarterback in 70 years. For the rest of his life, Ryan Pace is going to just be sitting in the shower and hear the Chicago Bears have traded up to draft Mitchell Trubisky.
Yeah.
And with the 12th pick of the 2016 NFL draft, the Kansas City Chiefs have selected Patrick Mahomes, quarterback, Texas Tech.
So the Bears had McMahon.
Yeah, but see, 70 years, a franchise quarterback's not a guy who has a flare-up.
No.
And McMahon was good for them.
Yeah.
But, so was Harbaugh for a little while. And so was Jay Cutler for a little while.
No, yeah.
And Rex Grossman had one good year.
You're talking about a guy that leads them for a long distance and maybe 10, 8, 12 years, unless injury cuts it short.
And look, I'll just in their own division, the Vikings and Packers in that 70 years have each had probably 3 guys who you could call franchise quarterbacks.
The Vikings had Fran Tarkenton, although they didn't win a Super Bowl, they went to 4. Joe Kapp was the quarterback one of those years, I think, or maybe 2.
Dante Culpepper was an elite player for a short
Cunningham
time.
had that incredible year with Moss, right?
And then the Packers have had 3 guys who are first ballot Hall of Famers and Bart Starr, Brett Favre, and Aaron Rodgers. And then, the Detroit Lions, if not for them, the Bears people would be like, well, But
Wade Wilson was one of those.
But here the Detroit Lions have had a franchise quarterback. They just sent him away. And Matthew Stafford, he's the quarterback for a decade plus, and they didn't lose because of Matthew Stafford. They lost because of every other decision they made. So
254 Marshall, thank you for bringing some brevity, levity, and comedy to this show today. Thank God. 254-339-1122.
Steven in Virginia, who's probably still yet to burn off all those pancakes. You're on SicEm365 Radio.
Yeah, I definitely still haven't burned off all those pancakes because I tried to call into the show when y'all were talking about Pujols yesterday, and I haven't felt good for a while. So that's what I've called in for today. I'm trying to make you famous and turn you into a meme, Paul.
Oh,
so
thank you.
You haven't heard about this?
I've seen it.
Will hit.
Yeah, maybe it will. I hope so.
Eventually, one of these will hit. But Albert Pujols got cut by the Angels yesterday. Through my own deep investigation, it was because he was upset that they have not been playing him, and he asked for the release. I would love for him to come back to the Cardinals, but as a person who has been a St. Louis Cardinals fan his whole life and understood what it was like when Albert decided to go to the Angels, because the Angels offered him 10 years, $41 million, and the Cardinals had originally offered him 5 years around $225. And he wanted a long-term deal like A-Rod got, and he wanted all the money because he thought he was the best player in baseball, and it was a respect thing. And, the Angels are putting all this PR out about how Albert wants to be a regular contributor and play, almost every day. And I love Albert Pujols. Albert Pujols is the most dominant athlete I've ever watched with my own eyes. But if Albert Pujols wants to play every day, he needs to retire. I don't want Tony La Russa to get, those feelings inside and start sticking Albert Pujols out there every day because he's not that kind of player anymore. And I'd hate, Tony would be doing it with the intent of thinking that he could squeeze it out of Albert, and he'd really just embarrass both of them. In an ideal world, I'd like Albert to come back and, be a bench bat for us. I'd much rather watch Albert Pujols pinch hit than Matt Carpenter or John Nagowski. But if Albert's not going to come back to a team like ours that has a decent chance of winning and, maybe playing in a World Series and being a bench bat, if he wants to play every day, Albert just needs to hang it up. And I'd like to hear what y'all have to say on that.
Steven, I'll tell you this. It's interesting you bring up Tony La Russa, who obviously was his manager in St. Louis. But the White Sox are very famous throughout their history for bringing in power hitters at the end of their careers. Look. Ken Griffey Jr. went there at the end of his career. I'm blanking, but they have a bunch of dudes at the end of their careers that they brought in. It's what they've done. So if Albert Pujols is a White Sox for 3 months, it would not terribly shock me. But there's a ton of guys that, at the end of their careers went to the White Sox. Now, this White Sox team is supposed to be pretty good. So, they've got some injuries. I know Luis Robert's hurt, and I know that Eloy Jimenez is hurt, so maybe they feel they need some more pop. But, I'm with you. Look, if the guy's hitting 191 right now, to start off the year, at best he's going to get to 235 or so. Is he really going to help you? I don't want to see that.
No, Willie Mays turned 90 yesterday. I think it was yesterday. Mm-hmm. He turned 90, and I remember the end of his career with the Mets. I remember certain players that have ended their career because they and again, it's their career, not mine, not the fans, it's their career. And if somebody's willing to write you a check, and Pujols, he doesn't need the money. But I don't want to see him hitting 119 and not being able to hit a fastball. That'd break my heart. And I'm like, Albert Pujols is not among my top 100 players of all time for me. He's a great player, Hall of Famer. But I don't want to see any great player, whether I like him or whether he plays for a team I don't like. I don't want to see them there.
I think when he left to go to the Angels, at that time, I
thought he was
the greatest right-handed hitter ever. Because if you his numbers were up there, he was the best right-handed hitter. Now, the other guys you would put up against him were all left-handed, but he fell off.
Okay, let me ask you this: why did they bring him to Anaheim? Did they need tickets?
I mean,
okay, here's my.
But they were trying to.
Did Alex Rodriguez win a World Series in his 10-year, $252 million contract with the Rangers? Now I know he went to the Yankees, but I think even during that time, it was after that ended. And Albert Pujols signed a 10-year, whatever it was.
The year right after it ended.
Yeah,
2009.
Yeah.
So it was 90. Yeah, so it was the year after.
It's again an example. Now the NBA, it's hard to explain them because their salaries are extraordinary and good for them. God bless them. These long-term deals, that's why you got to be careful with what you do with these franchise quarterbacks, even though you got to have one most of the time. They don't always work, do they?
Well, no, and look, I like if the Padres are going to give one out to a guy who's 20 years old. And Tatis, at least when he's done, he's 34. And
if I lived in San Diego and I didn't have tickets to go watch the Padres, I should be taken and moved to another town. He is so much fun.
So great.
There's a lot of guys like that in the league. There's more personalities now in the league. In the day of old, like get off my lawn, a bunch of hot dog and mustard. But it's changing, and there's some of these guys, they're having fun. Pitchers can fist pump. Pitchers can celebrate. They can stalk off the mound. Hitters are starting to kind of bounce back with that.
I'll tell you, I've been to a lot of baseball parks, Soki, as you know. And San Diego is the best afternoon game. Yeah, even Wrigley Field, which is great. Best afternoon baseball game I've ever been to.
We were right across the street when we covered the Holiday Bowl.
Yeah. And
was it the Holiday Bowl?
Yeah, Holiday Bowl.
Yeah, in San Diego. Right across the street from Petco Park, remember?
Yeah,
is that the same one?
Yeah, the city, you essentially look into it from the city, and it's there on the water. It's in a gas lamp.
I bet it's pretty chilly at night, though. It's not like San Francisco.
Yeah, it's not like San Francisco, but it was. I've only been to one game there. It was a day game. The only thing about it was the night before was our gas lamp night. And so that day game, when we were on the wrong side of the field where the sun was going this way. So the sun was kind of in your face, but it was still great. It just was about the fourth inning before I really felt like I was in San Diego and not in hell. So
yeah, like Armstrong yesterday at graduation. So Armstrong, we're closing out the show, Craig and I look at your face, and you had that beet red sitting on the beach all day. Yeah. Is that when you took a shower?
Oh, this morning it hurt.
How much? Yeah.
It hurt. But it's actually put some aloe vera on it and trying to get it to... It's not as bad today.
Have you ever had a sunburn bad enough to have to put vinegar on it?
Never vinegar. I mean, I've definitely had a lot of peeling
Went
sunburns.
fishing with my grandfather. This is back a long, long time ago when I was a kid. And we sat underneath the Skyway Bridge and we were fishing got home. All of a sudden, you just start seeing one welt or one blister after another. I had to sit in a bathtub with vinegar.
Oh, man.
Oh, my God.
Now,
the smell alone.
I grew up in South Florida, and so my mom would never let us go out without having it on. So if I ever got a sunburn, it was because I didn't reapply. Because especially when I was a little kid.
Yeah.
I do know this. It's funny because I remember thinking SPF 20, this 24, this is good. Now you can't buy it less than 50, which to me I thought was like a shirt, but that's what they call it, a liquid shirt. But yeah, it's I've had it a few times. Most of the time I get it is when now in my life is when we go somewhere and I don't realize we're going to be outside for long, like we're doing a pregame show.
Yeah.
And I haven't calculated the amount of time we're going to be outside, and then I get into the press box and I'm like, my face is red.
No, you get beat red. Yeah. And I play golf a lot sometimes. That's why I wear a hat. If I didn't wear a hat, the back of my head, oh, my God, there was just nothing. But when you get in a shower after you've been sunburned, and there's a feeling there that's almost like sticking whatever part of your body in acid.
Oh, that I've taken several where, it's going to be cold, like there'll be parts of you that don't like it, but but it's got to be cold when you get in.
Yeah. But Armstrong, you look good though, man. Now you are on your way to a nice little tan.
This is the base, just a base burn for the summer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just getting into the season.
Armstrong, I am looking at you though, and I would say that
he's gonna hurt.
The most tan you've ever been on a scale is not really that tan.
Not tan. I don't really tan. I just get really freckly.
Who?
Freckly.
I don't tan. I freckle.
The key to the tan is getting the freckles to connect.
Because I've never been that far.
Yeah.
You'll wait till in a couple months here, and you'll see what I mean.
No, and when I went out and played golf. What was it, Sunday? And then that night you go to shower, and it's got that little. Your legs haven't been out much. I mean, I've been out and played twice this year, right? And then you get to a point where your arms are fine, your legs are fine, but you then, I just went a vinegar bath. That was disgusting. And it didn't really, all it did was just make the blisters soppy.
So now when you eat fish and chips, are you just like, do you have like flashbacks?
No, I don't eat fish and chips. The only seafood I eat was shrimp. Now, obviously, lobster tail's great if you get it, and on occasion, and the late Burley Lamb and his fried catfish was amazing, but I don't do much of that either. But oh well, I don't know how we got into that. I have no idea. Paul, I want to get into this story. This is hilarious.
For the A's.
Jesus Luzardo. I brought this up. We ran out of time. Jesus Luzardo. He is a pitcher, right, for the A's. He's out. He's out because he broke a pinky in his pitching hand. He's a lefty. He broke a pinky in his his pitching hand. And how did he do this, Paul?
He was playing a video game. He slammed it against the table.
Like one of these slams, and he probably had the thumb in the wrong spot. Hairline fracture. How do you explain it? Now, we just had the story about the guy, Juwan James of Denver, who's at least working out, trying to get himself conditioned and also stay in shape. And he hurts himself with the Achilles or whatever it is away from Denver's facility.
Yeah.
Here's a guy who slams his hand, and I'm not like I haven't punched a couple of cabinets, but he breaks or hairline fracture of his pinky.
Yeah. So I was really happy when
should he get a check? Should he?
He was in the clubhouse, so it's on them. So
okay.
But yeah, it wasn't like he was at his house or whatever. He was in the clubhouse playing with other people. I like when these injuries happen, not for the poor guy who it happened to, but it always brings up some of the crazy baseball injuries that happen because you have a 162-game season.
Yeah.
Baseball, for some reason, reveals this. If this happened for football, no one would ever know. Like, if someone broke their pinky doing that, he broke his pinky in a blocking drill. That's it.
Yeah.
They would never admit it. But baseball admits it. Zach Wheeler caught the nail on his pitching hand. He pitches for the Phillies now. While he's putting on his pants last year.
What?
Yes.
Wait a minute. He caught the nail on his finger.
He caught it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, and hurt his finger. Let's see.
What do you have, a list of the dumb injuries?
Yeah. Yeah, I have a list of them. Jose Quintana last year was washing dishes at his home in Miami when he sustained a laceration on his left thumb that required 5 stitches. I'm going to go back a little bit. Carlos Correa has one, ribcage soreness, a massage gone wrong. Which here, you may say that.
There was a guy last year, wasn't there?
Carlos Correa in 2019. I had a massage in Vegas one time. It was my buddy Rusty's bachelor party. And I went to get a massage, and this lady beat the crap out of me. Like, I think one time she, rabbit punched me in the kidneys. Like, I don't know what she was doing.
Are you sure that...
Yeah. I mean, it was just at the spa.
Are you sure... It just wasn't getting
Paris
out of hand?
Hotel. No, I mean like
Deshaun Watson or something?
No, nothing like that. Nothing like that. Come on. No, sometimes you're getting a massage, like you'll say ow, and a good massage therapist will go, is that a good ow or a bad ow? Like sometimes you say ow because the tension relieves. She didn't ask that. She was just like...
She went double down.
She just...
Yeah.
It's like, this is a technique I call punching you in the back of the head.
Yep.
You'll forget that your back hurts because you'll have a concussion.
Yep.
But I believe it was Odabe McDowell, Smokey.
Yeah, one of my favorite Rangers.
Odabe McDowell. Let me find this one. Let's see. Oh, no, this one. Odabe McDowell sneezed really hard, and he broke a rib. Glenn Allen Hill went on the disabled
Toronto
list.
Blue Jays is what I remember with him.
After he fell through a glass table. That one's tough.
Was he wrestling? Was he drunk? Was he just tripped over? Those coffee tables, some of them are glass. You see that?
Who's the greatest base runner in baseball history? And there's not a second to even.
Ricky Henderson.
Ricky Henderson in 1983 missed 3 games in August with frostbite. Because he left an ice pack on his foot too long.
Oh, I can see that.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's.
I could see that.
Yeah. Steve Sparks in 1994 for the Brewers, who is now one of the Astros broadcasters, Steve Sparks, hurt himself trying to tear a phone book in half and dislocated his left shoulder.
I remember that one, yeah.
Yeah.
There's some people that can do that.
Yeah.
Strong welding hands, I
Marty
guess.
Cordova, who played for the Orioles, fell asleep and sunburned his face at a tanning bed. Missed a few games.
Yeah, there's probably people who have fallen asleep on the beach or in like around the pool, like vacation or chilling out, and next thing you wake up. For me, I'm telling you, it wouldn't take long, maybe 10, 15 minutes of just direct sun. I would have to be careful with that. But I can go out and play a round of golf in 4 hours, 3.5 hours, and be fine. Isn't that weird? Of course, if you're on the beach, you don't have a golf shirt on and golf shorts on.
No. I tan really well when I do. I get a good tan. You should have seen me when I came back from Costa Rica. I had a good. I do not. Good cold golden brown. It was like a grilled cheese sandwich. It was great.
I always get the golfer's tan with the V right at the neck.
Yeah, the V-neck and then the sock tan at the bottom.
Tan.
Yeah.
If I could ever get that good, grilled cheese sandwich level tan I had in Costa Rica again, that'd be great.
Grilled cheese.
All right. By the way, on the YouTube line, Marshall, who came up with the joke earlier, he was asking Brian Etheridge when we had him on. We didn't have time to ask Brian about the talent compared to UConn women. And Brian was talking about it will depend on the transfer who has not yet been announced and also keeping who they have. And also if Marion Dowda, of course, stays as committed, the young lady who signed with Baylor. But there's another new freshman coming in for UConn along with Beckers and all the others that they have that's awfully good. And then Brian, RG3 getting rice cakes instead of Twix. That was hilarious. The RG3 and his mom, Jacqueline. And, I mean, he went right in on her.
Yeah. So let me tell you, wait, before I answer that question, let me tell you. That McDonald's story.
Yeah, that was
great.
great.
They could have just ordered, which would maybe have been more cruel, is you order 3 Egg McMuffins and then just throw the muffin and the ham away.
And here's the egg. So they don't, you're right, they don't have, you don't get eggs easy at McDonald's.
They have a breakfast now.
Oh, okay.
But, I mean, but I don't know. I think they do. I don't know. I mean, they have a breakfast, right? We can get eggs and sausage.
Yeah, their Egg McMuffin or the one at Whataburger.
Yeah, you can just take the bun away
or throw one of the 2 buns away, and that makes it a little bit healthier, right? Okay, when we come back, she, of course, this week introduced as the new women's basketball coach at Baylor and the Lady Bears, Nikki Collins. She was introduced Wednesday, announced on Monday, introduced Wednesday. We'll hear from her again. Next on SicEm365 Radio. Alan Samuels, Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat for May. The Ram Spotlight sales event, including the 3-peat Motor Trend Truck of the Year. Back to back to back. Top safety pick for trucks named in 2021. A spotlight on the 2021 new Ram 1500 Crew Cab Lone Star with values of $6,750 or 0% for 72 months. The Jeep Freedom Days continues as well. How about this? Featuring the 2021 Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo with up to $3,750 in values or 0% for 72 months. Or the Cherokee Latitude Plus, the 2021 values up to $5,000 or 0% for 84 months. And there's another one, the 2021 Jeep Renegade Latitude, total values of $5,750 or 0% 84 months. And Chrysler, don't forget the 2021 Pacifica Hybrid Limited, total values of $6,000 or 0% for 72 months. Go by and see the great staff. AJ's the one. It was almost a year ago when I bought my brand new, it's a pre-owned car that's been amazing. In fact, when Jay Errett was here earlier from Pickup Outfitters, he had always seen me in that old Tahoe because he helped kind of decorate that thing on occasion. He goes, "You got a new car." It was about a year ago, and AJ, I went to the lot, and man, it was great dealing with him. He is as good as it gets, but everybody on that staff is fantastic. And Alan Samuels, Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat, Loop 340 east of 84 in Waco.
At Baylor University, students can shine in their own way. Or should we say their own ways? Because there's no limit to the ways Baylor students make the world a brighter place. Whether they're leading a student organization or following a higher calling, getting advice from faculty, or taking part in world-class research, pursuing their dreams, or working toward their dream job, students find their place to shine at Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Did you know that 1 out of every 4 men have symptomatic low levels of testosterone and don't even know it? And if you think you're too young to worry about it, guess again. Low T levels can make you feel tired and grumpy, cause weight gain, and wreak havoc on your sexual desire and performance. Petty Clinic Low T can set up same-day blood screening and results, so if you're tired of being tired, I challenge you to man up and Google search Low T Waco or go online pettycliniclowt.com. It's a private clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Affordable, only $150 a month, includes lab work, office consultation, testosterone injections, follow-up visits compared to $395 a month in Dallas or Austin, and you don't have to fight the traffic. Petty Clinic Low T as board-certified physician consultations will provide the best form of brand-strength testosterone available. Contact Petty Clinic Low T today, just off Highway 84 and Old Hewitt Drive in Woodway. Petty Clinic Low T, helping men become the high-performance men they deserve to be. PettyClinicLowT.com or Google search Low T Waco.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones Whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, rye, brimstone, and the all-new Lineage in stock. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
It's time to fire up the grill, heat up the oven, or get that deep fryer going to enjoy the top quality products at Waco Custom Marketplace. Order 30-pound sacks of live crawfish by 6 on Wednesday. Pick up on Friday afternoon after 2 or Saturday. Enjoy the weekend. 30-pound sacks of live crawfish available right now for $4.25 a pound. Find all the crawfish boil ingredients you need, including red beef potatoes, sausage, corn cobbettes, and Louisiana boil seasoning. Make your order for live crawfish by Wednesday at 6. Pick up on Friday after 2 for all day Saturday, and enjoy the weekend. Waco Custom Marketplace, your home for fresh baked kolache, cinnamon rolls every day. Butcher shop to cut your steaks the way you want. Fresh seafood, summer sausage, boudin, house cured and smoked bacon, spices, seasoning, soup mixes, and more, and weekly gift boxes for any occasion. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Cam Heathcott, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Cam Heathcott, covering Conroe and Houston, 936-756-7717, or cam.heathcott@edwardjones.com. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
The SicEm365 Radio Live Guest VIP Hotline is sponsored by Stonewood Dental. We are all in this together.
And joining us now on SicEm365 Radio is Baylor Lady Bears head coach Nikki Colin. And Nikki, when did you first hear about the Baylor job, and what was your thoughts that it might be open when Kim Mulkey left for LSU?
You know, I actually heard, probably a couple of weeks ago. I mean, this is a small world, this coaching world. And, and I had heard about it really more from the side of Nikki Fargas going to the Aces. That was the first, kind of domino that I heard about. And, then there was the rumblings that, Kim might leave, that she might go home. So certainly a couple of weeks ago, started to hear that. Honestly, like, I was so immersed in my team and my season. I'm not sure what day it was that, she even officially took the LSU job. But I would say, maybe a day later, I got a text from a friend asking me if I was interested in the job. And I said yes. And didn't know that would lead to anything, other than a friend asking me if I was interested in the job. But then got a call from the search firm and had a conversation with them. And he obviously felt good enough to push my name forward. And, then I spoke to Mac on the phone, and, But even at that point, I didn't know who the other candidates were. I didn't know whether this was serious. I didn't know if that they're just talking to a lot of people. Am I the out-of-box hire? Am I the out-of-box candidate, in terms of looking in a lot of different directions? So it really didn't get real until Sunday, in all honesty.
Doug Gottlieb told us yesterday that you are out of your mind that you got this job. Are you? Do you kind of like trying to figure all this out?
I think partly just because it happened so quickly. And, I actually had, when the Baylor job opened, I had a reporter that covers us a lot in the W say, what's it going to take to get you to Baylor? And I just kind of sent the laughing emoji, like, really? Come on. So I am. I'm still a little bit in shock that, other than I'm here and I've hugged players and I've spoken to people and I've been around campus, these coaching searches happen this fast, but I certainly wasn't a week ago thinking I would be sitting here getting ready for a press conference today.
As women's college basketball goes, this is a destination job, a top 2 or 3 job you can get. So in your kind of wildest coaching mind, do those things kind of pop in your head? Like, Baylor being open is akin to UConn being open. It's just not something we think about as sports people.
Absolutely. Yeah. You never thought, you thought Kim would retire here, just like you think Gino's going to retire at Connecticut and Tara's going to retire at Stanford. That's how this job is viewed. And so definitely I know that there's a big challenge ahead. I know, cliche-ishly, there's big shoes to fill. Like she built this. And, my job is to, keep growing it, but growing it the way that I know how to grow it, with my style and my personality and my approach to coaching.
Nikki, there's 2 things in particular that to me stand out. One is you're unafraid to take this job, and some that might have been too big for them. And number 2, you also had to deal with what was going on with the Atlanta Dream franchise. I had someone, Melvin Hunt, tell me this, and you know him well, that the best part of last year for you was making sure that team did not implode and they kept playing. What does that say about you?
That relationships matter to me more than anything. Really, that last summer between our opt-outs, our ownership situation, the Black Lives Matter movement, the political unrest, the Vote Warnock shirts. It was about managing those relationships. It was about walking beside my players and sometimes, walking behind them in support of them, allowing them to lead. Obviously, those, professional players are adults. They are going to speak, their mind. And so it was an unusual, walking the tightrope between supporting your players, knowing that you had an owner who had hired you, believed in you, and was paying for you to be there. It was a tightrope to walk, to have gratitude and respect and also, understand how our players felt. So it was a tough year. It was something that if you'd have told me at any point in my adult life that would be a part of my coaching, I would have told you it was crazy to be in the middle of a pandemic and to be talking about misogyny and be talking about, racial injustice, all those things all tied into coaching. I'm used to putting an orange ball, through an orange, hoop.
And so does that help you prepare for now? I know it's different. That's a completely different part of it. But did that also help you understand what you're about to face, the expectations at Baylor?
I think everything, my life hasn't been this perfect climb to get here. There's been ebbs and flows and a lot of things. So I feel like I've got a lot of experience in general, and I'm also old enough. I always say I'm 45 going on 14 because I think I have the energy of a teenager and I have the passion of a teenager. If I could still be playing, I'd be playing rather than coaching because I love this game so much. But ultimately, I think it's the experience that allows me to just say, this is who I am. This is authentically me. This is how I'm going to lead. This is how I'm going to serve. And that's how I confidently go forward and do what I do. Like I'm not going to try to be Kim, I'm going to be Nikki Collin. And, this administration felt like that was good enough, and hopefully better than that. So, ultimately, like I'm just excited to put my footprint on this program, even if it's a footnote, like ultimately, you got to start somewhere.
How much outside of the, off the court things you had to deal with in the WNBA last year, but how much will the WNBA help you in recruiting and help you coach players now that you have both the college experience, which we had extensive experience before you got to WNBA, and now being a professional coach before you got here?
Yeah, I think the WNBA experience helps me in two ways. One, I absolutely know what it takes to get there, and I know what it takes to be successful there. So if I'm going into a home, those players should believe that I know how to get them there. I mean, because, we've turned players into most improved players in the WNBA. We've had players be first team all conference players, even in Atlanta. So, I can talk the talk, but I'm going to walk the walk, when it comes to preparing those players. The other area it helped me is every game in the WNBA, you got to show up. There aren't 40-point games. There aren't games that you have starters out, in the third quarter. You got to coach to the last minute in every game, because every 14-point game is going to go to a 4-point game. Every 20-point game is going to get shrunk to at least 8 at some point. So managing late game situations, understanding time and score, competing against incredible minds. It's in-game adjustments are so important in the WNBA. You can't do the same thing all the time. You got to double grinder sometimes. You got to player single sometimes. You got to coach that into the players to have, some instinct that when to do what. So, I think those are the two parts. The recruiting, I know the league, I know how to get you there. And two, I've coached in a lot of late game, tight game, contested game situations.
You have to try to now put your staff together and at the same time trying to manage those who are transferring in. One player who signed, Miriam Dowda out of Arkansas, and yet it's a dead period. How do you know what you might have until you get through, I guess, Sunday?
So the beauty of at least it being a dead period is you have the ability to recruit your own players. Right. So if they've signed, you can recruit those players. I just can't go recruit any 2022s right now. So, my primary job right now is to re-recruit the players at Baylor. The ones on the roster, the ones coming to the roster, all of those things. That is my number one priority right now, getting them to understand who I am and how they fit and why they should stay at Baylor. So that's the first priority. And then certainly starting to have those conversations about what my staff is going to look like. And all I can tell you is it's a work in progress. When you hire a great staff, it's dominoes. You get one person, you get that person, who brings something to the table, a strength where you're weak, one of those type situations. And then once you get that person, that dictates the next direction a lot of times. Unless you're a coach that's taken your entire staff and you already know how that works, it's about one person at a time, the right person in the right position, that balances my personality, that balances my strengths and weaknesses. And that's going to pour into these players the same way I'm going to pour into them, because that will always be, if I learned anything from the WNBA, they were always going to talk in the WNBA about being a player first league. Well, we need to transfer that to some degree to this level. Our players need to know that they're important and that they're important all the time.
Jordan Lewis is coming in from Alabama. She's already signed, and she says she's going to stay and play at Baylor. How important was that you were able to already keep that commitment?
Yeah, I talked to Jordan, Monday night, after we had our first team Zoom. And one of the good things about Jordan is that I was at Florida Gulf Coast when she was playing in high school. So we had Jordan on campus. We had her family on campus. I think it came down to Florida Gulf Coast, Clemson, and Alabama at the time. So Jordan has elevated her game over the last 5 years. At the same time, it always comes down to relationships. And she played for Central Florida Elite. And her coach with Central Florida Elite is close to a coach that's at Florida Gulf Coast now that I'm great friends with, so it's about having the right network, the right relationships, and having people say things about you without you having to say it. A lot of times it's like, no, you need to stay. You need to go play for Coach Nikki. Like, she's awesome, and then you don't have to necessarily sell yourself in every environment. So, if you leave a trail of people who believe in you, who trust you, who you treat right, then ultimately, like, other people will sell you sometimes better than you can sell yourself.
You left college coaching 3 years ago, and you come back, and the transfer portal's gotten turned up to 11.
Yeah.
How do you adjust to that, knowing it was one thing when you left, and you walk back through the door, it's almost a completely different thing?
Well, here's what it is. Here's why I'm comfortable with it. It's free agency. Yeah. That's what it is. It's free agency. I hope that coaches do not start coaching or do not start recruiting players at schools before they go in the transfer portal, especially with the one-time transfer rule ultimately. But when they're there, it's free agency. It's like having a bunch of unrestricted free agents in there, So that I get, I always said, like, if you, having been in the college game and been in recruiting, while the free agency period is much more compressed, it is like recruiting, like, on speed, like, it is amped up. It is, I don't get out of my pajamas for 6 weeks because, you're on the phone with players, agents, back to the player, back to the agent, the next player, the next, and so, it's not that dissimilar.
And you yourself experienced that, right? From Purdue to Marquette. So does that make it a little bit easier for you to understand that?
Absolutely. And I've always said, if players are transferring for the right reason, and you can't tell anyone that they're not transferring for the right reason today anyway, I think that sometimes the hard part about transferring is you have players who are successful and they're just looking for something a little different. But certainly, I understand, like, my experience was I played on a great team at Purdue, but I didn't get the kind of minutes I wanted, and I wanted to have a different impact. And so I know what it's like to be the 12th player on a roster, and I know what it's like to be the player that never comes out of the game. And so I think that the transfer experience for me as a player has made me a better coach in a lot of ways, simply because I understand what it feels like to be the player that wants to badly play and doesn't get minutes. And I understand what it means to be the player that only comes out, if I'm not standing up, because I got knocked down and can't get back up. So, I do understand it. Players are trying to be happy. That college is short. They should enjoy their experience. And I hope ultimately, when I retire from Baylor, that, the one thing players will say is that they had joy. They loved their experience on the court and off the court at Baylor University.
I know you got to go. How much of a sponge are you when it comes to basketball? Coach Melvin Hunt said you just soaked it in, watched practice, never said much, and then met at midcourt and just listened.
Yeah, I fell in love with the game of basketball in the 5th grade. It was my first love, not my only love now, but ultimately, like, it is who I am, and I watch a ton of NBA basketball. I think that's where trends start. We see the best of the best players and coaches, and that transfers to the W, which transfers to college, both on the men's and women's side. So I just want to be better. I want to know more I want to know more tomorrow than I know today, and because I have such a passion for the game itself, I have a passion for relationships, but I have a passion for basketball in general. So if I'm going to be great, I got to keep working.
That's Nikki Collin, again, the new head basketball coach for Baylor women's basketball. Coach, thanks a lot. Good luck with your speech today, your introduction, and thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Nikki Collin, Baylor women's basketball on SicEm365 Radio. Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trusted doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
Car has the trucks, man, they have the one for you. Crew cab, short or long bed, silver, black or blue. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, he has the truck for you. Carr has the trucks, man, he has the truck you need. If you want the best truck, you want a GMC. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, they have the truck for you.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more. With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Ben Erlinson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Ben Erlinson, 100 North 6th Street in Waco, 254-759-8533. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like First Free Checking, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
Have you downloaded the SicEm365 Radio app? Do it today on the App Store and Google Play.
All right, wrapping it up on this Friday afternoon. Good luck and have a great Mother's Day for those, everybody. And it's time for Paul and his Close It Out show.
This is Paul Catalina's Top 5 at 5:55.
By the way, before we do this, Maurice Linguist, former Baylor player, former Cowboys assistant,
A&M, Iowa State, was at Buffalo, in fact, before.
Yeah, is now the head coach at Buffalo. Leaves Michigan as their co-defensive coordinator to go to Buffalo. The Top 5 at 5:55 brought to you by Slapsticks Comedy Club. We've got, the club is not done, but we've got events coming up May 29th at Rogue Media Network. So follow Slapsticks on Facebook, Instagram, and you can get tickets for that show on May 29th. We did an improv show on Saturday night. It was a blast. We're going to do a lot more stuff leading up to the actual opening of the club for the next couple months, and the club will open on Highway 84 in the summertime. All right, we just had a fake holiday, which, and I'll describe in a second, a fake holiday. Fake holiday.
Cinco de Mayo?
It's a fake holiday. It's not really a holiday. You don't get off work. It's just, it's been over-marketed. It's not even a holiday for, signifying any major event in the history of Mexico, but it's been kind of co-opted by...
Hold on. Is Cinco de Mayo a holiday?
There are many other more important days.
We need to define terms here. What's a holiday?
Cinco de Mayo is an optional national holiday.
Optional.
Celebrations vary from state to state.
State to state.
What are you doing?
Okay, what I'm saying is it's supposed to be celebrating the proud people of Mexico.
We're going to get to Cinco de Mayo.
But it's not. It's not. It's just...
Been celebrating this since 1862, about when baseball started.
Yeah, I guess. All right, so a fake holiday is a day that people for some reason celebrate, but we don't get the day off work. You just have to go.
It is not celebrating Mexican independence.
Yes, I know. That's what people think.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm saying. It's you're like you would think it's supposed to be. It's just
like okay. Yeah.
I think it's just it's a catchy way to say a day in Spanish, so people made it a holiday.
Is this kind of like? Oh, I'm going to take one of your names off this list.
So hold on. Okay, number 5, and this is one that now that I'm in a serious committed relationship, I have to celebrate Valentine's Day. But no one gets off work. No one gets off work. It's just
finish the sentence.
Yeah, no one gets off work. Yeah, I mean you have to unless it falls on a weekend. It's a lot more trouble than it's worth for most people. Not me, but other people. Other people.
You're a walking time bomb.
I know.
I thought I was after earlier, but you are treading on thin ice.
Yeah. Number 4, Arbor Day.
What even is that?
Arbor Day is a day where we celebrate trees. We don't get off work.
There's a lot of people as tree huggers, Paul. Be careful.
Yeah. I mean, look.
Kind of like PETA.
Then let me go get off work and I'll go plant a tree. But until then, I'm not going to celebrate Arbor Day.
Yeah, that's.
Number 3, St. Patrick's Day.
Okay, now there's a fight.
Have you been off work on St. Patrick's Day?
Well,
no.
Let me explain. Does covering training camp in Florida or Arizona in the spring training camp, does that work?
Yes, we're working. I've been in the NCAA tournament on many a St. Patrick's Day. And it's fine. It's fun. But it's not a holiday. And look, as a Catholic, every saint has a feast day. And this is the one we choose to celebrate because it's the one that's the most debaucherous.
This is a Catholic holiday?
St. Patrick's Day is a Catholic feast day.
Okay.
So, yes. I mean,
debaucherous?
Yeah, debaucherous.
I thought like Mardi Gras?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Number 2, Cinco de Mayo. Can't figure out what it's supposed to be celebrating.
It's celebrating a military victory.
One military, I don't know, I guess.
The Battle of Pueblo in 1862 where Mexico defeated France. Everybody did.
Yeah. I mean,
it's like defeated France?
Yeah. The French were trying to establish a monarchy after Mexico had defaulted on debts to France. General Ignacio Zaragoza, poorly supplied troops overcame a 6,000-strong French army. A small victory, but helped gain support for Mexican resistance to the French.
I better get work off for that.
Yeah. Again, Mexican Independence Day.
Should be like 4th of July.
Mexican Independence Day is different. Like celebrating a victory over France would be like if Alabama took a day off every year to celebrate their many victories over Vanderbilt.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not going to happen. All right. And number 1, fake holiday. Halloween.
I've never thought of Halloween as a holiday.
But people people show up to work dressed up like bumblebees and crap and whatever else.
Embarrassing.
Halloween is a holiday it's a day for kids. It's a kid's day.
It's a night for kids.
It's a night for kids. But I can tell you, as an adult, if I want candy, I don't have to go to my neighbor's house and ask them for it. I can go get candy whenever I want.
You know what? I liked Halloween when I was a young kid.
I liked
to have a brown paper sack.
The only people who should be dressed up on Halloween night are kids and parents of very young kids who want to make their kids happy.
Yes.
That's the only reason you should dress up.
Armstrong, I'm very surprised you're with me on this.
Yeah, not at work. If you show up to work dressed up, that's embarrassing.
Yeah.
You should be fired.
I would be Armstrong. You know who I am when it comes to Halloween. I'm Jim from The Office.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or you just
3-hole punch.
Yeah.
Or the name tag.
Dave.
Back to Cinco de Mayo. Cinco de Mayo is a bigger deal in the United States than in Mexico.
Yeah.
All right. Halloween, I've never thought of Halloween as a holiday. As a holiday?
Yeah. Now, look, there are people who are going to see this and say, Paul, you hate everything. Yes, you're right. I do.
Well, you better start liking Valentine's Day, buddy.
Listen, I've had to celebrate the last 2. This last Valentine's Day was wonderful, so I'll just tell you. But most Valentine's Days, I've not been.
When was the snowstorm? Was that during Valentine's?
Mm-hmm.
Was it?
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah, I think it was.
The reason I know that is like about a day or two later, everything at HEB with all of whatever you would get at Valentine's, from the candy to the balloons to everything else, was free.
Well, amazing.
Yeah, nobody could get to where they. All right, okay. All right.
But the only food you could get was like a heart-shaped box of candies.
Yeah.
What'd you have for dinner today? I had a caramel, a coconut, and a marshmallow. She had 3 raspberries and a strawberry.
Steven says the best 5 at 5:55 ever.
Thank you, Steven.
Steven's got a little bit of that evil in him as well sometimes.
Yes.
But I've never Halloween.
Steve and I are bros.
There's a debate about why you even put Halloween there, because it's not a holiday.
Well, none of the other ones are either.
Yeah, some of them are. Maybe they are. Okay, thanks to our guest today, Bruce Feldman from theathletic.com. Siaka Ika's in his top 50, actually top 5 transfers in college football. Brian Etheridge on the women's basketball, where it is ear to the ground on many things. Robert Griffin III and his mom, Jacqueline, on the Mother's Day weekend. Dr. Isaiah Odejima on Jerry Johnson passing away, the voice of the Golden Wave Band. Staff Sergeant Courtney Clary, U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, and also we replayed Nikki Collin and her interview with us earlier this week. All right, we're back on Monday. Armstrong graduation week. Paul Catalina. I'm David Smoak. Thanks to all of our incredible sponsors for what they do from the very beginning, from the first day, April the 6th, and so many of you, in fact, have joined, and we appreciate you every single time we go on the air. They'll start it back up 11 to 2 on Monday. We're back on Monday at 3. Have a great weekend. Happy Mother's Day, everybody. I'm David Smoak. Good night.
Ideal MRI is a small family business right here in Central Texas. We're open to support you while lowering the cost of healthcare bills. When you need an MRI, ask your doctor for an Ideal MRI. Visit us at idealmri.com or call us at 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance has been proudly serving Texans across the state for over 60 years. Call 254-772-8090 to find an agent who will provide a free review of your auto, home, and life coverage.